these all glued together except for that one. Already, good deal. Light looks like on yours. Okay, you're good. I want to make sure it's turned up. Good morning and Saturday surprise. And it's a real surprise because Cindy's here.
Good morning.
Yay. Cindy's back. And if you were here last Saturday, this is a 2-part Saturday special. It's Cindy, I suppose you remember watching Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
Because that's, that was all that was about the only day you had cartoons back in the old days.
Well, exactly.
Not that I'm dating you, Cindy,
no,
at all.
absolutely not.
We did spend some time together in high school. But anyway, this is our Saturday morning special, and Cindy's here, and she's here with part 2 of this really cool file folder folio. And last week, maybe you'll be able to review briefly what you did last week.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
If you missed it, it's on our Facebook page right here. You can look at last week's video. A lot of you I know have kits to make this, and maybe you're making along with Cindy, or you're watching and then coming back to make it. However you want to do it. If you don't have a kit, and they are sold out, we do have the file folders, the black file folder, and we do have the Happy Christmas collection.
Which is all you need.
And Cindy says that's all you need. And if you want to take it a step further, we have all the other Happy Christmas, the puffy stickers, the sticker books, the brads, we've got the dies, enamel dots, and my personal favorite, the ephemeras. So we do have those. So if you really like what you see, we have the black file folder that Cindy used. And Cindy, that totally amazed me, I have to tell you, that you made that out of the file folder. We've done a lot of file folder projects, but never one like that. So very unique. And I love your shirt too.
Yeah, thank you.
She's at Memory Bound, so she's getting her therapy in today.
Absolutely.
So Ernie's watching, and Dorothy, and Carrie's here.
Good morning.
We got a lot of people. Kathy, Holly, and Holly, I haven't talked to you in a long time. Oshra's here, and Karen, and Loris.
Everybody's been so
Cheryl.
gracious with their comments, and there's been a lot of people that have given a lot of suggestions for things that maybe they've done a little differently. Please do. If you see me doing something and you're like, oh well, I've tried it, but I've kind of done it this way, put it in the comments, because
well, that's good. Yeah,
that's
so
what we
can all
do.
Learn from everybody.
We share, and that's what I like about it.
And it's kind of a base, isn't it, Cindy? And you
Yep.
can make it your own.
Absolutely.
Make it your own.
Yep.
And what I'm going to do is I will watch for questions, and I'll let Cindy know when you have a question about the project or a comment, and I will share those. And remember, it does run a little behind, so if we don't answer you right away, I don't know, it's probably about a 30-second delay. But anyhow, if you're just joining us here at Memory Bound, Cindy's back today doing a little measuring.
Yeah, a little
measuring.
Well, because I have a little tip, so it's all. I just want to make sure.
We love all your tips. We love them all, Cindy. She's got lots of energy and lots of tips, and you guys are going to love this morning.
Lots of coffee.
So, and she had lots of coffee. Okay, there.
Yeah,
that
sorry.
explains it. That explains it. So anyhow, we're going to get started. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can just put them in the comments, and I will follow along for questions. And we're going to get Cindy started. We're going to set our camera up so it's in Cindy's. It shows her workspace.
Yes, I will attempt. I did not do a very good job last week, guys, and I apologize. I will attempt to stay in frame. And I just realized that my glue is dry, and I don't have a straight pin with me.
I can take care of that, Cindy.
I just bent my loop pin, but that's all right.
Hand me your glue, and I'll take care of it.
Yeah,
Unless you think you got it.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I think, let's see, we got a lot of,
well,
let's get over here in your workspace.
You bet. All I remember is I need to stay here.
And kind of your mat, you're fine, because we can see over here, Cindy.
Okay.
And we can see over here.
Okay.
And
so you can't see my mess.
No, we cannot see your mess, but
Awesome.
we cannot see this. We can see about to here.
Oh, perfect. Oh, no, that'll be great, because then I can move some things down. Perfect.
To you. I set it up that way.
That's awesome. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. We'll just kind of recap a little bit of what we did last week. We took that black file folder, we trimmed it down a little bit because that half tab kind of comes over, and it really made for a bulky middle fold. So we trimmed that a little bit. Of course, if you were watching, you know I am an inker. I am a distress inker from when Tim Holtz first put his distress ink out. I have my original vintage photo still. I just re-ink it. So it's much loved. But what I did, I used the gathered twigs, and I inked everything. We put this together. We have 3 envelopes. We have an A9 envelope, and we have 2 A2s, which are the smaller ones, one on the front and one on the back. So what we did, we got the covers on. We got the magnet in the front envelope, magnets underneath the flap. I love that sound. As Katie says, it's very satisfying, and she's absolutely right. So we've got that here. Then we've got the A9 envelope on here. The other A2 we've got over here in a little flap, and then we made this like a little 4x6 with a little vellum pocket on the front and attached that to the back inside cover. So we got quite a bit done, and I was actually happy that we did, because now it gives us more time to actually play and make like our own ephemera and stuff like that, and get a little farther along maybe with the decorating. So what we're going to do first though is I'm going to use the actual piece that I made. There is a little booklet here that's used. I used 2 of the 3x4 cut aparts that I did not cut apart, and I'll show you. And then there's 4 sheets of just dyed paper or scraps of paper. And those sheets that are in here are actually, you cut them 5 and 5/8, 5 and 5/8, no, 5 and 7/8 long, and 3 and 7/8 wide or deep. 5 and 5/8 wide, 3 and 7/8. Now, to get more out of your paper, because you could only get on a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper 2 of these sheets, 2 of these like little papers out of one 8.5 by 11 sheet. So I did, and this one was sewn. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you. Well, you're like, well, Cindy, I don't have a sewing machine. No problem. I'm going to show you how you glue it, and it'll be or maybe you don't want to drag your sewing machine out. Maybe it's really heavy, and you can always just glue. So what I'm going to do is actually these sheets of paper. You can see they're a little shorter. These are actually 5.5 by 3 and 7/8. So you can get 4 of the sheets, which is what's in my little booklet, 4 of the sheets out of one 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, because 5.5, math, here we go.
Love math, Cindy.
5.5, you take 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. So you cut that in half this way, and then you take your 3 and 7/8, 3 and 7/8, and now you've got your 4 sheets of paper out of one 8.5 by 11. So if you have that extra sheet of paper, of dyed paper, now you can use that. So what I've done ahead of time is, and I'm going to show you on the 3x4 sheet, is you need to leave, like the one I'm going to show you are these 2 pieces that I've cut apart, but you leave them together because you're going to fold it. That's how you make your booklet. This is the one that I used before. You need to make sure that they're both oriented correctly, because whatever's on the right hand side is going to be your cover. So on this one, this is on the right hand side of these 2. That one's going to be your cover. I could cut these apart, and this could be my cover, and that would be the back. This would be my cover, and that would be the back. This would be very cute, but this is oriented landscape, not portrait. So if you're okay with that, then you could use that as your back, but it would be off. It would be twisted. It would be not really backwards, but it would be a 90 degree. So just make sure that whichever one you want to use, you don't have to do the same ones I did. Use whichever ones you like. If you like this one, use these two, and that's your front cover. Use these two, that one's your front cover. Use these two, use these two, this one's your front cover. Make it whatever you want it to be. So.
And Cindy, I was just going to mention that I think it was Dorothy said she didn't have the re-inker, so for coloring her paper, she went ahead and did the ink smooshing technique. So I thought that was a good thing to share with everybody.
Oh, no, absolutely. Thank you very, very much for that. Sometimes you don't have. Now, a lot of people will dye their papers using food product, beets and coffee and tea and that type of thing. It's not a preference of mine. Sometimes food products can leave a smell to your paper, whatever that food product might be. And then you need to make sure it's dried really, really well because you don't want, it's a food product, you don't want it to rot. So, I mean, okay, that wasn't very, it is what it is.
It's true though, Cindy.
It is what it is. But whatever you find, a lot of people don't have any problems. They use coffee dye or tea dye or something like that. Go for it. The thing is, if you don't know, try it. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Also remember too, the fiber of your paper is going to give you different results when it comes to color. So what we're going to do, here's this. You're going to take your two 3x4 cut aparts that you've left together. So it's actually 6 inches by 3 inches. And there's the actual measurements. Again, like I said, you can do 5.5 and they'll just be shorter. Not a big deal. This is just for fun. So, but we're going to glue these together. I've already got 3 of these sheets that are already glued together. And what you do is you just take your, see, it's got a little bit of glitter love on it. That's all right. And you're just going to take this and you're just going to fold it in half. Again, if it doesn't come up even, that's fine. Who cares? This is my bone folder, my Teflon bone folder. Love it. I use it for so much, and you'll see. And then you take your favorite liquid glue, and all you're going to do is you're going to run a thin line of glue down, and I'm sorry if I'm casting shadow.
I think you're fine.
Okay. Down the center, really thin. If you don't have a really fine point for your glue, that's okay. Just make sure, you could just do dots, little dots. And then all you're going to do is...
Cindy, I like that you you share alternatives because not everybody has everything.
No.
And I love that you do that.
And so. People don't need to go out and buy. You don't need to go out and buy a sewing machine just so you can sew down the center for your little books. I mean, you could also hand sew these. Mm-hmm. You could do that. You could do the pamphlet stitch sewing like we're going to put our signature in with, which is next. So now we've got our 4 pieces together. We've taken our front and back cover from the 3x4 paper pack, and we're going to fold that in half. I cheated, guys. I'm fully aware. I scored the inside of that to begin with, so, and it's not lining up straight for me. But you know what? Again, not a big deal. Now, again, this is Cindy, so what am I going to do? I've got to ink the edges. I have to ink the edges. Guys, it's just my thing. It's just my thing. Now, if it's not yours, more power. Awesome. This is, make it what it is. I like to get the edges. This too, it'll cover up if your cardstock happens to crack and you get that little white core that shows through.
Oh yeah, that's
this
true.
Covers a multitude of sins sometimes. So, but I like to ink both inside and the middle as well. So that is done, and I used gathered twigs. That's what I used. And so now that's done. So here's my cover. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to run a small bead of glue. And I like to kind of keep it folded like that because it helps to kind of corral my glue. I can just take my tip and follow the fold. And then I'm just going to take my paper, my little paper pack that I have glued together, and just kind of center it and just fold it up. Now, because it's still wet, you know, I would take a paper clip, just like that, set it aside. By the time we get back to it, it'll be done. So I've clipped it together, it's glued together. What I like to say, I've seated. So I've seated the pages into that fold so they're nice and tight, glued it in, clipped it. If you've got a small binder clip, you could do that too. And I'm just going to set that aside. So we'll let that dry. So now the next fun piece, and this is, I hope you all find this. This is properly one of the funnest parts of this, because we are going to create the signature. And by a signature, what that is, it is your grouping of paper. And if you've ever looked at a book, one that's been hand sewn, you'll see that there's sections of the book that are together, and then there's multiple sections that are then lined up next to each other to create the book. Each one of those sections is what's called a signature. So if you've ever hear it and you've never known, what are they talking about? It's just that grouping or collection of papers. It can be as thick or as thin as you'd like it to be. For this particular project, there are 9 pages. There are 9 pieces of paper that are going to make a signature and the cover. So what I've done, your signature cover we have already cut, and it is 8 5/8 by 10 1/8. I had to think off the top of my head. So you have the cutting in measurements, but I believe that's what it is. So the papers are actually going to be cut 10 inches long and 8.5 inches wide. So actually your 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, all you're going to cut is 1 inch off the end. And these were ones, the brown are the ones that we dyed with gathered twigs last week that we left dry. And remember we did a doily, and I don't know if you can see how it dried, and you can see the actual imprint of the doily around that. I thought that was pretty cool. So we're going to use that for the inside. So what I did, and we dyed some ledger paper, and we also dyed some graph paper, and I found it was very interesting because, and you can't really see it on this one, but the actual graph of the graph paper, you could see there's kind of some blue. It actually bled. And I thought that was very interesting because the ink of the actual paper bled. So
that is surprising.
Before we started, it looked like this. It looked like that. And after we dyed it, that's what it did. It bled. And so you can't, on this particular one, you can't really see the graph. But whatever, I thought it was kind of cool. So we're going to use it. So what I have found to make this easier, and because I've made a few of these, we're going to do, it's called a pamphlet stitch, and we're going to only use 3 holes. I've used 5 holes before, and I've also used 7 holes before. Most of my projects have 3 holes, and it's, if you've got smaller pieces, then you want more stitches to hold those smaller. Maybe the actual pages don't go the lengthwise. But what we're going to do is, today we're just going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. There are many YouTube videos out there that show, pardon me, 5 and 7 holes, because there is a progression where you have to kind of go, you go down 1, you come up 3, you go down 5, you come, and it's kind of like an S type thing. This is much easier, much simpler, and it suits its purpose. It's exactly what I did on this one. So, but I find, because you want to measure and make sure you get the center of your page, so I'm going to use my handy dandy ruler here that's got a centering point on it. And I know my page is 8.5, so that would be 4 1/4-ish is where I'm at. So I need to find my center. So I look for my 0 and make sure that I am centered on either side of the 0. There we go. Close enough for a small town. And I'm going to put a pencil mark in the fold where the center of my paper is. See, right there, center of the paper. Now I'm going to use my ruler, and on either side of that 0, I'm going to go up 2. And you can make it as short as you want. I want to make sure that it's covered fairly well. The stitches are holding the papers. So I'm going to actually go 2 3/4 inches on either side of the 0. And I'm going to put again, a little pencil mark in the fold of the paper. So now I've got my center mark, and I've got my mark 2 3/4 to the right of my center, and another mark 2 3/4 to the left of the center. And I do this on the middle page. You don't have to mark them all. You can just do this on the middle page. I've also done this where I've actually, after I've put everything together, and it's just so much easier just to have that center page out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to seat the pages. And what I mean by that is I want to make sure that, excuse me, I just dropped my needle. Where did it go? Okay, good, got it. We're going to make sure that all of these pages all of these center folds are together. And I'm not worried about the edges. Some of the edges, they're going to spill over, and it's just because they're all the same. And as you stack paper and fold them, they're going to kind of scooch. It doesn't bother me. I'm okay with that. If it bothers you and you want to trim these so they're flush with your signature cover, by all means do so. But do so after you have sewn it in. Okay? So I'm going to take my hands and I'm just going to kind of, I want to press this down. And you're going to work vertically like this. And so I want to I'll try to open it up so you can kind of see, but I'm just kind of pressing this down. And my bone folder actually has an edge to it where I just kind of take it and I just make sure that these are really tight and really tucked down into that fold. If you don't have a bone folder like this, that's fine. If you've got a scraper, somebody actually had a suggestion one time, an ice scraper, like a portable, like an ice scraper that they've used. I'm like, whatever, that's awesome. Use what you've got. But I'm just going to tuck those down. Now, while it's up like this, I want to get you 4 long paper clips. Not the shorter. These are the a little bit longer ones. And what we're going to do is while you're still kind of vertical, we're going to paper clip these edges together. And I kind of go opposite, where I will take that paper clip and put it on the front. Okay, make sure your pages are as equal as they can be within. See, it shifted on me. So I'm going to move these around. And I'm really, really picky about this piece. So it takes me longer to do this and to get everything kind of situated. Okay, once everything's situated, and I'll use my hand, seat those down, and I'm going to take a paper clip and I'm going to clip it on one side, and then I'm going to clip it on the top of the back. And then, and another thing too, if you have a cover, if you're using a cover for your signature and it is directional, make sure your papers,
good tip.
Make sure your papers, you've got it right. So if you've got, directional paper here and directional, that they're going the right way. Anyway, so I'm going to put all these paper clips on all 4 edges. All right.
I think that's happened to all of us, Cindy.
Yeah.
Something in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and you either take it apart or you embrace it. You just embrace it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put this into our folio. And this is one of the big reasons why I told you guys to leave that little space in between the fold and your envelopes, because this is where your signature is going to be sewn into, okay? And if you have everything butted up against that middle fold, you don't have any room for your signature, okay?
So since some people might be joining us,
yes,
and weren't here last week, do you just want to show them what your folio
absolutely.
sorry to interrupt, but
Nope, that's
there
fine.
might be some new people that don't know.
So what I did, and you notice the tab is different. It's off center, but I want this side of the tab to be my front. So all I did was turn my file folder inside out. And in this particular instance, it's the same color. In some file folders, the inside may be a lighter color or a different color. Anyway, and then all I did was take that file folder and I folded it in half. I don't want to crease this down.
Need to crease it.
You know, and then we just trimmed a little bit of the edge. But that is what the cover of this is.
I just think it's so amazing, and I thought if there's new people today, they might not even realize that you made this whole
Yep.
folio out of a file folder.
Yep.
So
This
that
is
really
what
cool.
started out like that.
All right, thanks, Cindy.
You bet. So now, thank you for bringing that up. So we're going to put this in here. Now you could go ahead and mark your spots like you did here within this, but just take this. Again, you're going to seat your signature in the folder. Okay, so it looks about like that. So you've got a little bit at the top, a little bit at the bottom. It's where you like it. Okay, now we've got these, I've got binder clips now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace my paper clips. Now that I've got this seated in here, again, we're going to work more vertical. And I hope you can, I'll try to open this so I hope you can kind of see what I'm doing. And now I'm going to put binder, and the reason we do it this way as opposed to trying to do it when you're open is because when those pages move when they fold up. Okay, so if you sewed this while it was flat, it would buckle and it would crease and not be exactly what you are anticipating you have when you folded it up. All right, so that's why we're going to do it kind of sitting vertically or on end. So I'm going to take that paper clip out and I'm going to replace, oh, my binder clips are tight, but that's okay because you don't want this to move when you're sewing. So I've got that binder clip there and I'm going to come over, and this also keeps it from, so you don't get any slack when we start sewing. Okay, and I'm going to change this binder clip out, or excuse me, that paper clip, and use the binder clip there. If you've got some really long, I found a really long paper clip. If you can find these are awesome because they really will hold your pages down when it comes to, like on this one, I may use that because a binder clip is not going to be far enough to hold this top piece down. And so I'm just going to replace that little one because you've got the tab. And this is a pretty tall tab. So I'm just going to put that in there. And if you don't have one and you have to just leave the paper clip on and not actually clip it to the top, that's fine. If you have one of them, I've seen people do this where they've just put a clip on the bottom of one side and the top of the opposite side and just done it that way. But I like things, for anybody who really, for all of you, if you ever know me, I am very particular and I need to have it done in a certain way. So I'm going to get this, and sometimes these binder clips are really tight. So this is what mine looks like, all clipped in. All right. So, and I can feel that it's moved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my hand, with my fingers, just with my fingers, and I'm just going to kind of press that down into that middle fold because you want those papers to be in that middle fold. All right, so what I've done, typically what I do ahead of time before I even start this, but you can just lay this aside, is I've taken my darning needle, and I've had these darning needles forever. I bought this pack of 6 different sizes at Walmart, as you can see. They were 68 cents, but I've had these forever. If you were here last week, I am a quilter as well. I hand quilt. And I am a seamstress, so I work with needles and stuff a lot. So this is what I did. you have a length, you have probably a little over a yard of waxed twine. Now, you don't have to use waxed twine. This is what Memory Bound has. And they have it here. They have it in black and in brown. And I believe they can probably get it maybe in a lighter, I don't know, you'd have to ask. But black, we're going to use black, okay? And if it's waxed, it'll go through paper really well and smoothly. Although I've used other things too. I've used crochet thread. I've used baker's twine. I've used linen thread. And it's not waxed, and it can start to fray out, you know, just how it gets those little fuzzies. Somebody, oh gosh, when I was here in August and had the folio like this, it was in the lemon twist, and somebody had made the suggestion, you can buy, again, as a seamstress, in the sewing section, it's called beeswax. And you can take that and drag your, if you're going to use, let's say like this burlap, very fine burlap thread, to see how it's kind of fuzzy. If you drag it through the beeswax, it's coating it and it'll help slide through the paper and everything. So I get this done ahead of time, because now what we're going to do is you're going to need to make sure you get yourself something. Here's a piece of foam I brought from home. All right.
Quick question. Cindy.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Karen wants to know, could you add another signature to this project?
It's not. You could. I wouldn't, because it's not. There's not enough spine. There's not enough space to the spine. Now, if you wanted to do 2 signatures of maybe 4 sheets of paper each, as opposed to 1 signature with 9 pages in it, then yes. But it's the depth of your spine that's going to determine how many signatures you do. Because as you can see, I'm going to pull out the other one that I did. It fell. You can kind of see where it takes up a bit of room. If I hold this closed, that's probably 3/8 of an inch wide. And you don't have 3/8 of an inch here. You know, you'd almost need to score on both sides of the fold and make this more of a spine as opposed to just folding it over, if you wanted to add more than 1 signature. But that's a great question. That's a great question. So what I'm going to do now, and now you can see where by pre-marking our holes beforehand was helpful, because now if we hadn't done that, I would have had to have tried to get my paper, my ruler in here and figured out my hat. It's just so much easier. But what we're going to do, I'm going to use my awl. I have an awl that I keep a knitting needle tip on. It's sharp. If you don't have an awl, I think I bought this at some craft store. It was $3.
Could you use a paper piercer or a paper
piercer? A paper piercer? Absolutely. You could try. This is my Tim Holtz paper piercer. You could use the same thing. You just want to make sure you don't get down too far, because you don't want these holes, you don't want the diameter of the holes too wide. Okay, because gotcha. Somebody also made the suggestion one time about an ice pick. Yes, but the diameter of an ice pick is more about what the top of this awl is across, maybe 3/16 of an inch, and you don't want the holes to be very big. So yes, you could use a paper piercer. Also, somebody, I forget who it was that I was watching on YouTube, actually used their darning needle.
Oh,
but they can be slippery, so be careful. Yeah. If you try, you can't really get leverage, so be careful when you're doing this. But you definitely want something. I just have an old piece of foam. It's pretty dense foam from some packaging. I saw somebody, again, on YouTube when they did this, they used an old mouse pad. But you just want something that's going to protect your work surface. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your awl or whatever you're going to pierce your paper with, and you're going to go straight down in each of these holes. And you're going to go through the paper, you're going to go through the signature cover, and you're going to go through your file folder. Okay? So let's do that. And I always start at the center. I don't know why, but I just do. And I'm going to go. Yep. And I always lift my foam. See, there it is. So there's the center, and it's in the middle on the fold. So I've done, it's not gone either side, and that's the other thing. If this was open, it might go to either side of your fold. So it's gone to the fold, and I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to do the same thing at the top, straight down.
Well, that looks easy. You make that look easy, Cindy.
And then we're going to do it on the other end. We're going to go straight down. The key is straight down. Try not to waffle to one side or the other. Am I hungry? That's, I think, the second time I've just used the word waffle. But I love me some, for any of you that live down south, I love me some Waffle House. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh, love me some Waffle House. We need one in Iowa so bad. So then I'm going to put my end back on because this is sharp and it hurts. Just putting that out there. Okay, now I can take my little piece of foam and put it in my little box of goodies that I brought with me. Okay, so now we've got our 3 holes. They're in the center, and they're in the center. And now we're gonna sew.
This is what I'm anxious to see. How to start.
And it's really, really simple. Give yourself about, because you can always adjust this. We're not gonna cut the end. We're gonna leave the end long. Actually, when I'm home, I leave this on the spool.
Oh, good idea.
I just leave it on the spool. This way you're not wasting it. All right? So I just leave it on the spool. And what you're gonna do, I'm left-handed, so you'll have to, what I do is I go through the center first. You go down from the inside in the center, and you're going to pull. Sometimes you got to work with it. Pull this through. Okay? So you've got this. Okay? And then you're going to come up through the top hole. I don't know if you can see that. Ow! Ooh! I just poked my thumb. But it went straight up. So it caught, this is why you bind everything together so it catches everything. You don't have to worry about going through each individual piece. And so you're going to go up through the top. Again, sometimes you have to wiggle your...
I suppose the thicker it is it the harder,
yes.
A little bit more effort it
yep.
takes.
And the bigger the eye of your darning needle. Oh gosh, I wish I had a piece of shelf liner to grab my needle. Hang on. Because sometimes they just really slip, and I can't grab it. Hang on.
Can I get you something?
Do you have any shelf liner?
Would a piece of this work?
It's too slippery. I need like rubber, like a shelf liner to. That's all right. Nope, that's okay. Well, I'll figure it out. Nope. Okay, now when this happens, this is real crafting, guys. This happens to me at home, not a problem. You just have to wiggle things around. There we go. Got it. You just kind of wiggle things around. Okay, so now we've gone through the center from the inside. From the outside, we've come back up through the top. And now we're going to take, yep, got it. And now we're going to go across the whole length, or the length of your holes through in the inside, and we're going to go, again, we're holding this kind of vertically. We're going to go through the bottom hole. Okay, and my little tail got caught. That's fine. We'll just flip it out. And then we're going to go up through the center. And okay, good. Now, as you can see, needle's coming up through the center. When you do this, the key is to have one of these threads on one side of this center thread that you've got holding your signature together, and one on the opposite side. So,
got it.
Okay, so we're just going to bring that up, and it was easy as doing what I just did.
Okay. I had a wet paper towel. I didn't know if that helped.
Yeah, it might. Sometimes you just got to wiggle it, and you just got to twist, and you just got to show it who's boss.
Yes.
And I'm the oldest.
Cindy is the boss.
And I'm the oldest of 5, so trust me.
Oh.
If my siblings or any of my siblings are watching this, they know. Yep, bossy pants set.
Michelle is excited because Katie made a file folder and she used a long reach stapler.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I might have made one too.
Yep.
Now this is perfect timing because she's going to use your machine to put her
absolutely.
things in.
I have a long reach stapler as well, so I use all sorts of things. But yeah, this is
And Lois suggested pliers. Have you ever had to use pliers to pull it through? Would that
No,
help, or-
at home I actually have, and I didn't have it with me because my sewing table is my craft table. I have a piece like a hemostat
Oh, okay.
that I use for turning corners and stuff
Okay.
when I'm quilting, and so, and but see, there's,
She's wiggle. This is real life, people.
yep, there we go. So it,
Wiggle if you
yep,
have to.
yep.
Wiggle and jiggle.
That's right. This is real life crafting. So we're going to pull that through. Okay. So now we're done. We can take the needle off. I'm going to put this back on here because if I don't, I'll end up finding it with my thumb somewhere that it doesn't need to be. So now we've got this, and what you want to make sure that these, I don't know if you can see, you want to make sure that these strings on the outside are taut. So, and it's just a matter of kind of pulling the strings and making sure, again, fold this up. You can remove your little
Cindy, I
binder
love
clips.
this. I'm so happy I'm here today.
You can remove the binder clips, make sure this is taut. I haven't cut any string yet, right? We still got plenty left. You got plenty. You could probably do 2 more signatures out of this, what you've got left. And this is definitely plenty. If I were home, I would be wiggling this down, so this would be left, but I'm not going to mess with that. But the big key is one of these threads is on one side of this middle piece, and one of the threads is on this side, okay? And you're going to take these and you're going to pull them one way, and then you're going to cross pull them the other way, and you're going to make this tight. Make sure these are tight, and then all you're going to do is tie a square knot. We're going to tie it down.
So right over left and left
Over right. Right over left over right. Channel your inner Girl Scout or Campfire Girl or just knot tire. And then what I will sometimes do is I'll just tie the rest of this in a bow.
Oh, I like that.
Just because, and then I just take it and cut it. And because, okay, so let's say, you don't want to do all this, or maybe it's longer, and you want to tie a charm on the end and dangle it down.
Oh, yeah,
Okay?
that's a good idea.
Like that. Now, I know there's a way, and I want to do one time where the knot is actually at the top. It's still 3 holes, but at the top, so then you've got a longer place, and then you can use it as a bookmark. It's in my
Something for people to try.
It's in my plan. So that's the thought. So I'm just gonna leave that. And your signature is now here's another key. You're like, okay, this is not looking like this right now. No. Take your signature and fold it over. Oh, I scratched it. See, look what happens. See, I scratched that with my my paper clip. Actually, you know what? I don't have to worry about it because we're going to cover it. So, and then just take each page and fold them down.
That's how you do
See,
it.
and see how you can see the holes? This is why you don't want your holes very big, because they kind of grow anyway. This is paper, remember? And it, and it rips. Although, and then you're going to do this with each of these pages. And we're going to just kind of smooth these out. And some will smooth better than others. Remember, the dyeing of the paper, it took the liquid of the paper and then condensed the fiber. So your paper, the texture of your paper, I love this one. This is so cool.
That is really cool.
It might feel thicker. I love the way that it makes the texture of the paper feel.
And if people are new, I thought it was very interesting that this is 30-pound
Yeah.
computer paper. I call it typing paper,
Yep.
but I was told that I'm showing my age.
I call it typing paper too, just saying.
But
So there's this. We're almost to the end. And as you work with this, and as this is open and closed and all this type of thing, and I'll take it and smush and do that. But see, look you can't even see the
it
black
looks nice.
stitching.
It looks really nice, Cindy.
Okay, so again, when it comes to closing this, ribbon, twine, nothing, a belly band, another belly band or whatever. So that is you've now just sewn in your first signature.
I love it.
Now, the one thing that you'll have to see that I did not do, because I usually do it ahead of time and I didn't have it. Guess what I didn't do?
Oh, she didn't ink her pages.
I didn't ink my pages.
See,
but
Cindy left her papers here to dry last Saturday, and I guess we could have inked them for you. We didn't
nope,
even realize
that's
it.
fine. But if you look,
See, she
I'm
can't-
not-
She can't stand it. She's
I
got to
no,
ink them.
it just is not happening. But it's like, okay, again, this is real life crafting. So I just so it's done a little bit.
Do you ink the inside pages, Cindy, or just the kind of cover page?
Sometimes it depends.
just depends?
It just depends. So if I want them, I may do this.
Oh, good idea.
I just hold them both together, and sometimes they'll be inked, and I'll do the fronts.
I think that's a cool tip right there.
You know, and it doesn't do like the edges of each individual one, but you can. It's like, oh, you know what? I want a little more on this one. Okay, we'll just do this. It's supposed to be fun, guys.
It's
so
the fun
don't.
of creating,
Yeah,
really, Cindy.
it's the fun of it's the journey of making. Like Tim, enjoy the journey. It's the journey of making, and I love making stuff. I give these away. I make stuff like this, and then I just give them to people because I like making stuff. So
Cindy, do you know if they still make onion skin paper? I kind of remember.
I
that.
remember onion skin. I don't know. People have used tracing paper and have dyed it. Now, here I'm going to get out of frame here for just a minute.
That's
Remember, I used a piece of baker's parchment paper and put it on top of the brown paper sack when we were dyeing. Look at this, and it's textured, and you see little dots of the ink.
And it actually dried.
And it actually dried. I would cut this up and I would use this, and I would make pockets and things like that, which onion skin is a little more transparent than this, but it has that kind of
So maybe a
opacity to it.
Yeah,
So,
maybe
but
parchment
this
paper
is
would be a good-
this is a roll of parchment paper, white parchment paper. But and it's wrinkly. I don't know if you can see if I hold it like this, but you can see it's wrinkly. There's a texture to it, and that's from the water. So yeah,
That's a good alternative. Great idea.
I love it. And as I said last week too, I have tried wax paper when I've done that, but I don't like the wax. It didn't do what I want. I didn't like the way anyway. For me, I didn't use
can
wax
try it
paper.
if you like
Try
it,
it.
great.
Yep. If you
Everybody's
don't,
different.
also another alternative when you're covering your work surface is to use butcher paper,
Oh,
but
sure.
make sure the wax side is down.
That would make some good designs.
So, all right. So we're gonna set aside our folio right now.
It looks cool already, Cindy.
So, all right. Let's see how we've done on our little booklet. Oh, good. This is the one we glued, right? We got the 4 pieces of paper. We've glued it. Open it up. It goes right here. Yay!
Love a vellum pocket because you can see what's in it.
Absolutely.
When you brought in your ephemera booklets,
Yes.
that got me onto vellum pockets.
Love me some vellum pockets. I honestly, I do. I just think they're fun, and they're really, it's just nice to see. Okay, so now we're going to put that aside. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually make this expandable.
Oh, I can't wait. I've been waiting for this.
The expandable, like a library pocket with a ledger closure
And 2 flaps.
and 2 flaps. And this one has an eyelet, which is one way you can put it on. We're going to you all have a brad that came in your kit, and I'm going to show you, because not everybody may have an eyelet setter and that hole punch and that whole thing. I'm going to show you how to use a brad and how you can cover the legs of the brad after we've done it. So we're going to show you this. Kelly has graciously, she's taken pictures. This is the directions for this double flap library pocket with ledger closure, which we're going to make. And she's taken pictures of this, and I think she's going to put it on the memory
Yeah,
bound
I
side.
can post it. No problem.
So this kind of tells you, here's how you score, here's where you fold, and then here's the instructions. So
Cindy, thank you for making those up for everybody.
Oh.
I think everyone really appreciates that.
Absolute-
Or they don't realize what it takes to write directions.
oh, you're
Not easy.
absolutely. Well, sometimes it's just, I know for me, sometimes if I see a visual and then I do it and then I just see it once. But, and I also, this actually, I was inspired by Melina Pilot. You will find her on Me Crafty Scrapper on YouTube. She actually did one of these and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so cute. So I want to make sure that there's credit. So her
really
name
nice.
is her name is at the bottom. But I watch her and I watch her mom, Edith Ray, and she is
mother-daughter.
Yep, scrapbooking with me. She actually this whole thing is inspired by her mom. So Edith Ray, W-R-A-Y, or Melina Pilot. So Me Crafty Scrapper on YouTube or Scrapbooking with Me. So
Cindy, before you start that,
Yep.
Michelle has a question. She joined in late and she's just asking what is a signature. So would you mind just
Absolutely.
explaining that one more time?
I would love to. A signature, Michelle, is just a collection of paper. As I was saying before, if you've ever seen a book, a hard-covered book, and if you've opened it up and held it up, and you see that there's sections, the pages are like sectioned together, and then there's like maybe 5 or 6 signatures for the book, and that's how they bind them and are able to put more pages together. Could be even on some paperback books as well, but you will see it more on hardback books. I guess I haven't looked at paperback books, but they could be there. But that's what it is. It's a collection of papers. It can be a signature of 2 pieces of paper. It could be a signature. This one happens to have 9. This one could have, if you only wanted to put 4 in here, you could do that. You don't have to put everything that I did in here. Make it what you want. But that, Michelle, is what a signature is. I had to ask the same question a year ago when I'm like, people are talking about on YouTube. Signatures, I'm like, what? Yeah, that's what it is. It's just a collection of papers that you've bound together.
And Cindy, I also want to mention that Kathy said when you were here, I don't know if it was your first time, but when you showed your other folio, probably the twisted
The lemon twist.
lemon twist.
Uh-huh.
And she's made one for her travel and loves it, and she's going to make more. So
Oh.
you are inspiring people.
Oh,
Cindy, and thank you so
well
much.
done, Karen.
Kathy.
Kathy,
sorry.
I'm sorry. Well done. If you can't, take a picture of it and put it in your comment. I'd love to see a picture of it.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
If any of you guys make stuff and that type of thing, if you want to take a photograph of it and put it in the comment, I would love to see it. I love to be able to teach and have us share between each other how how we craft and how we make things and how we do things. And I can learn from you. And the whole beeswax thing, here about 2 months ago, what a great idea. That's awesome. And I absolutely love that. Okay, now here is my collection of stuff for this double flap library pocket with ledger closure. Okay.
That's a lot to say.
It is a tongue twister. So what we're going to do is, I've got my handy dandy corner rounder. I just happen to have one like this. Whatever you have, you don't have to round the corners. I just like the way it looks, so you'll see me do that. So what I've got here, and I've got some things done a little bit ahead of time, is I've got my piece of paper. We cut this last week. Last week? Yeah, last week. Gosh, I can't believe.
It was only a week ago.
I
but it
know.
seems
I'm
a
like,
long time,
when did
doesn't
we
it?
cut this? So we cut this last week. The plaid is going to be on the outside. This piece of paper is 3 1/4 inches wide by 12 inches long. Okay, so you're going, and I do have, and it does. You do need to, when you're scoring this, you do need to score it as, and I tried to make a representation as best I could. But the first score, you take your scoreboard. The first score you're going to put this in your scoreboard. And pull out my scoreboard. And I got to move my instructions. The first, I'm going to put this on my scoreboard. And I'm left-handed, so I'm going to work left to right. You're going to score the first one at 1 3/4 inches. Oops, let me take my little, I got my little cheat out. So you're going to score it at 1 3/4 inches, and you're going to score that. The next score is going to be at 5 3/4 inches, not 5 3/4 from where you just scored, but actually 5 3/4 from the end. So you notice I did not take this and lift it off from the scoreboard. So I'm going to score this now at 5 3/4 inches. And the next two scores, my scoreboard has 1/8 of an inch markings. Some people's don't. If you don't, you can kind of, once you get one done, you can kind of scooch the scoring down, but you're going to score at 10 1/2 inches and 10 3/8 inches. So at 1 3/4, 5 3/4, 10 3/8, and 10 1/2. That little 1/8 of an inch that we just scored, the 10 3/4, the 10 1/2, that's a gusset at the top of the actual pocket. So you can, because we're going to put expanders in, so you can put more in it. Okay, that's what that is. You could eliminate that if you wanted to and just score it at 10 1/2 inches. That's fine. No big deal. It's absolutely fine. So, so we've got that all scored. And now I find it the easiest to fold in this manner, okay, because it helps me to visualize. I'm going to fold it at the 5 3/4 inch first. I'm going to fold it up, take my bone folder, and we're going to fold it down. So we've got it looks like this. Now we're going to go to that one where we scored it at 1 3/4 inches, and we're going to fold it so the black stars show. So we're going to fold that flap. This is how we did. We folded this up, and we fold that back. All right? So that's how that's going to be folded. And then the 1/8 of an inch folds, we're just take, and whether you want to do the one at 10 1/2 first, and then come in and do the one at 10 3/8. But now you've got this. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is now is when I'm going to round the corners, because of course Cindy's going to have to ink the edges, and I do some of it before I start cutting. I'm using the 1/2 inch rounder on my quarter rounder. That's just my preference. You could use quarter. Again, like I said, you wouldn't have to use either one. You could just leave them squared off. So now we have our corner rounded pocket. All right. So now I'm going to take, because some of this is, it's easier to ink when it's not put together. So I'm going to do that. And I will, because you'll see me go back and ink things again after I've got everything put together, just to kind of cover up an errant fold, shall we say, or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to do one side, I'm going to do all, just go around and try to get it up here so you can see. I know this takes so long, but I didn't want to do this ahead of time. I wanted you to see, real-time crafting, kind of thing. So let's see here. What do I want? Okay, I do want this inked, and I do want this bottom fold inked. Anything that, I'm all about anything that shows is what I want inked. And there we go, and there's that. Okay, so now we've got this piece. We're going to kind of set that aside, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take, it's one of the, we're going to take the 4x4 cut aparts, all right? And it's this strip of 4x4 cut aparts that we're going to use. We're going to use the Joy to the World for the center pocket that's going to go on the double pocket library, or the double fold library pocket. We're going to use the dashing through the snow, we're going to put that in the signature, and we're going to make that a tuck spot. And we're going to use the happiest of holidays. We're going to cut it apart and use it for the expanders. Okay? So take that particular strip of the 4x4s and cut those apart. All right? This you can set aside. You've got these as extras. Oh, these would make cute little booklets too. You could make just the way they line up, cute little booklets. Okay, so that's your 4x4. We need these 3. All right? So I'm going to put that aside. So what I've done is I took that Joy to the World and cut it down so that it is 3 inches tall and 3 1/4 inches wide. So it's 3 inches tall and 3 1/4 inches wide. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to take I had to put my, sorry, I had a squirrel moment there. I apologize. Wow. We're going to take and we're going to score. This has been scored 1/4 inch. Let me take my paper piercer. It's been scored 1/4 inch from both side edges and the bottom. Okay, so I've scored it. We're going to lose the Joy to the World. That's just the nature of the beast on this one. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So we're going to score it. Again, if this is directional, make sure you've got the right directions. Remember, it's 3 1/4 inches wide and 3 inches tall. So we're going to score on 1/4 inch from the right edge, or left edge, excuse me, 1/4 inch from the right edge and 1/4 inch from the bottom. And then once you've gotten those scored, I just kind of gently fold them up a little bit, just so I can see that scored line on the inside. Because what we're going to do is we're going to cut this corner to help us miter the edge and get rid of excess bulk in those bottom corners. So all we're going to do, but you need to be able to see where your points come across, where that corner is. And you want to cut just to the outside or just more towards the corner. And you're going to cut it in an angle, one way, and cut it out. And we're going to do the same thing in the other corner. We're going to cut it, again, where those corners meet, that point, we're going to cut just to the outside of that. We're going to cut it at a diagonal and cut it out. So now you've got pieces that look like this. We're also going to do the same thing at the tops, but I'm just going to take, again, more towards the outside of the fold and just take a slight diagonal, and we're just going to clip that off. It eliminates the bulk. So now you've got a piece that looks like this. All right. So,
Love it.
cleaning up after myself. All right, so now I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to kind of ease the edges. Sometimes if you ease the edges on really heavy cardstock, you don't get that cracking white. Sometimes, sometimes it helps, and I just kind of ease the edges, as opposed to just taking it and folding it and doing that. If you kind of ease the edges, it'll.
I love that, Cindy. I did
take
not
that.
realize that.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes you still get a little bit of the cracking.
Not bad. That looks good.
And then what I do is, then once you've see, there's still a little bit of white, but guess what we're going to do?
I wonder.
Yep, we're going to ink the edge, and then I go ahead and really burnish those folds down. And then, because we want a thumb pull, I'm going to use my 1-inch paper punch. And I'm just going to line it up. No, I'm not measuring. Yes, it's okay. If you want to measure, that's fine. If you don't, this looks good. Okay, we're going to pop it. No problem.
So some people are measurers and want it exact, and some of us just kind of guess.
Which
that's fine.
I'm typically a measurer, but there are some things that's like, oh, that's not worth my time to measure. So I'm going to take and I get all the things done, and then I'm going to ink the edges. And then we're going to put our score tape on, or I use score tape. Again, if you want to just use liquid glue, you're certainly welcome to do so. But I'm going to use my 1/8 inch score tape. And sorry about the crinkling. And I'm going to put some score tape along the edge. Now you're going to see, you're like, okay, well, wait a minute, Cindy. It's kind of hanging over the edge there. Yep, just kind of put it up against that fold and tear it. I'll show you what we're going to do. And I'll do one here. I'll do this one on purpose so you can see what we're going to do if your score tape hangs over the edge, because you can take a pair of scissors if you want. Cindy does not. And I'm just going to burnish that score tape in. And I'm going to pull that off. Okay, do you see that piece, that little piece that's hanging over there? Just take your finger and smush it down. Like back in the day before we had double-sided tape and you made tape circles. So you had double-sided tape. Yes, I'm showing my age, and that's okay. It's kind of like that. We're just going to kind of put it back on itself. And this one is kind of lifting, but who cares? I'm going to pull this other piece off and just kind of push those edges in. So now, okay, guys, be brave. Be brave. Watch. Cindy is not measuring. I am not measuring. I do not know how far up from the bottom I'm using. I'm going. I'm just kind of looking. I want that kind of there. And I'm going to fold and sometimes if your corners will fold in, and you can kind of tack them down. Actually, what I want to do, when you're doing pockets, make sure the sides are in first and the bottom is over the top. And you're like, well, why does that make a difference? Well, have you ever put something in a pocket and it catches on the bottom?
Oh, yes.
Now,
Yes.
it won't do that because the sides are going to hold it out. Now, if it doesn't always hold everything, but sometimes those little clips that we made gives you a little extra, and it doesn't have to totally be on there. So now you've got your pocket. You can go, okay, let's see here. I want that fold. It looks about even. Brave, put it down. There we go.
Oh my gosh.
There we go. And I'm just going to...
Cindy, you're so brave.
Right? And I'm just going to burnish those edges. Now, we have the pocket, and we will get to the little tags, but the little tag page, it has all those wonderful tags on it. This one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And this just happens to be actually what I did. The only ones I used were the top row. That's fine. I just cut those out. This is all the rest on the sheet of paper that you can have to use for your gifts or whatever it is you want to use. Anyway, so that's what would go in there, are these little tags. All right. So, oops. So now we've got the front pocket on. We've got this piece, and now we are ready to make our little gussets. So what I've done is I took that happiest of holidays. All right. Again, be brave, people. It's fine. You're going to cut it so it is 3 7/8 inch long by 3 inches across. And then you're going to cut it in half. So you have two pieces that are 1.5 inches by 3 7/8. And that is also, here's your front pocket. That's what we just did. Here's your side gussets and the measurements. Okay, so 1.5 inches. Each one of these is 1.5 inches by 3 7/8. And now we're going to go back to the scoreboard because we're going to score at 3/8 of an inch. We're going to score at 3/4 of an inch, and we're going to score at 1 1/8 inches. So each one of these is like 3/8 of an inch. And here is your gusset.
Very cute.
Okay, so I've already done this ahead of time. So we've scored again at we put it in my scoreboard. Let me grab it. I'll just grab it. We put it in my scoreboard. I scored it at 3/8 of an inch. I scored it at 3/4 of an inch, which is 1/2 of 1.5. Math, people. And then at 1 1/8 inch. So you've got 4 sections that are 3/8 of an inch wide.
See, who said, Cindy, that you'll never use math?
Right? Thank you, Mr. Petit.
Very true.
Thank you, Mr. Petit. So now you've got this piece, and we're going to use the green side. So the side that is printed is going to be on the inside. Nobody's going to see it. So we're going to fold it in half on that 3/4 of an inch, and we're going to burnish it down. And we're going to do an accordion fold or a valley. We're going to do a valley fold. This is the mountain, and then we're going to do 2 valley folds on either side. So now we're going to take this piece and we're going to fold the bottom up. So now you see the inside. So we've got this, and we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side.
You know, Cindy, these little pockets that you're making, the double flap library pocket with ledger closure, that could be put on a card or on a scrapbook layout.
Absolutely.
Or on any project or by itself. I could see giving away gift cards.
I was just going to say a memory bound gift card in one of these would be lovely at Christmas. Just saying. So what I did, as you can see, I've already inked, because the mountain fold, the middle fold is what is going to show. Okay, so that's at least at this point, that's all I'm going to actually ink.
Happy Christmas paper packet.
Okay. All right. So I've inked that. So now you've got these 2 pieces.
And then we do have the black.
And what's going to happen, and I do use glue for this, I do use glue, is you're going to, and if you want to dry fit these, that's awesome. Is what you're going to do is, because this is like 4 inches right here, you're going to put this about a 1/16 of an inch, and I don't know if you can see, about a 1/16 of an inch from the bottom. You see it doesn't get in the way of the fold. It doesn't get, and it doesn't show off the top. All right, because you don't want it to be impeded, the fold to be impeded by the sill flap, but you do want the mountain pieces to come across. All right, so you do want that, so the mountain piece. So the easiest way to do this, and again, it takes a little bit of bravery, and it's okay. So I've got them both. I have one on one side and one on the other, and this is how they're going to be put. This is how they're going to be put on the library pocket. About a 1/16 of an inch or so from the bottom. All right, and then up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some glue. All right, and on the piece that's going to go on the bottom, I'm going to put some glue.
Oh yeah, we're hearing that a lot.
Okay, and you're going to put that, remember the mountain fold is facing out. The raw, what I call the raw edge of this piece of cardstock, you're going to match up to the raw edge of the pocket. And it's about a 1/16 of an inch or so from the bottom. And I'll hold this up. I want to make sure that it's up, but I'll hold it up. Okay, see how the fold is right there? And that's just a hair away. It's about a 1/16 or an 1/8 to an 1/8 of an inch off from the bottom of the fold. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that that's where it needs to be. This is why I use liquid glue for this and not score tape, because if I were to try to put score tape down on this, it would stick right away and I would have no wiggle room. Okay, so now we've got the one side done, and now we're going to put the other side down. Again, mountain fold faces out, okay, and the raw edge Again, you're not going to, if this is directional, you don't have to worry, because I think, you know, I would have put that in upside down, but nobody's going to see the inside. So dry fit it, put some glue on the flap that's going to go on the outside, on the bottom, on the back of your pocket. Again, make sure it's about 1/16 of an inch or so away from the bottom flap. Make sure the raw edges are even. Yes, that's the sewer in me coming out. And glue it down and burnish that in. Okay, so now you've got your 2 gussets put on the back side. And this is what it looks like. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put glue on this top flap of the pocket and on this top flap, and then we're going to take this and fold it over, and we're going to adhere it down. Okay, so sometimes I just come back in here and I just take another little swipe with my bone folder. And this is another thing too, it just gives you a little bit of time to work. So I'm going to put the glue on like this. I'm going to put the glue on this side. Okay, and then get glue on your fingers. It's good. Hold them over, and then take your thumbs and flip up the bottom or the top of the pocket, and
Instruction.
boom.
We'll post them next week. We don't have them.
And you're going to
We'll post them next week.
take this and glue it down. Now you have your gussets, and because we cut the gusset pieces shorter than the front, you don't see them. But Cindy will now take her my ink, and I will ink those edges because that's how I roll. And you have your side gussets for your pocket. Easy peasy, mac and cheesy. And okay, now see this one? It didn't go all the way over to the side. I'm not stressing about it. You could try to take this up. It's still, the glue hasn't quite set. I could pull this up. I'm not going to worry about it. No big deal. The only person that's going to know is you. And like I like to say this about my my quilting or anything I do. And if somebody complains about it, well, they don't know me that well, and so they just need to chill. But there is your pocket.
You made that look really easy, Cindy.
There is your pocket. So now we've got the front pocket on. We've got the gussets on. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to do the closure. And what I did is I took two pieces of scrap and punched 1-inch circles. These are 2 1-inch circles, and I glued them back to back, or wrong sides together. And of course I inked the edge.
So did you do 2 just to make it more sturdy?
Yes.
Is that what you did too?
Yes.
Okay.
And that is especially helpful if you're using a brad. But even with an eyelet, it just gives it more oomph. It gives it more body, and it doesn't tear as easy.
Right.
Remember, this is paper, guys. So, but this definitely, but I've glued those together and I let them dry. And then I punched out another smaller piece. This one could be 3/4 of an inch, but it could be a 1/2-inch circle. This is what I would put if I were doing this with an eyelet. I would have glued this on the back, so it would definitely have given me more strength for the eyelet. If you're using a brad, which is what we're going to do today, I'm not going to glue this on the back. I'm going to save this because what we're going to do, it could cover, this is going to go on the front, whichever side you like. And we're going to put the brad through the center, And then when we spread the legs of the brad, that sounds really bad.
That does sound bad.
I am so sorry. I apologize. That was way
open the brad?
when that was so inappropriate. When you open the brad up to adhere it down, to adhere it down to the back of the flap, you want to cover the legs or the ends of that brad with something. You can use the circle. You could use a cut apart. Here, you guys are going to laugh, but I actually cut a piece in the sheet of paper that has all these little cut aparts on it.
That's a great idea.
There's all these little extra little things. Well, there was a wreath that I cut around, and I think that's what I'm going to put on there instead of the circle. So this is real-time crafting, guys.
It is.
So find your center of your circle and just take your paper piercer. I cheated ahead of time. If you can see, there's a little black dot. I'm just going to fess up.
You're just saving time,
Yep,
Cindy, saving time.
exactly, because we need to get to, okay, so there's my paper piercer, and I just put a little hole. Okay, just a little hole. All right. I'm going to find where I want this on my, pardon me, on my flap. And I did not mark this one, so this is definitely real-time crafting. But if you notice, I am not worried about, is it in the center, is it not in the center, what's going on, where's it going to be. I'm just going to go, yeah, I like that right there. I'm going to hold it up here. Yeah, that looks good. Be brave. Yep, felt it through the back. I have a hole. So now I'm going to take my brad. I'm going to put it through the hole. Which way? I'm going to put it through the hole in the front, like that.
That's so cute.
I'm going to put it through the hole in my pocket. Punch it through. And this is where you're going to then open up the legs. Now here is where I do turn these and make them so they're horizontal. Don't ask me why, I just do. And I find, okay, instead of just taking the ends and folding them out, they lay flatter, is if you can get into the center and kind of push them down first from the center.
Very true. That does help a lot.
And then I'll take my bone folder and flatten it. So now I've got, it doesn't hardly stick up. They're flat. And then I could take my circle, but you'd want to make sure whatever it is you're going to cover your brad with in here, and I only do it, you wouldn't have to. I only do it so the ends don't catch and keep folding up.
Sure, yeah.
As I'm going to take my little wreath.
Get that ink on there, Cindy.
And then I'm going to take some glue and I'm going to cover the end of the brad with the wreath, and now we have protected that. So now it doesn't catch because, again, if you know me, I would have a mess on my hands because I would be catching that all the time. So, and it's another little decorative piece. And make sure that catches. It may lift up a little bit. No, not to worry. Eventually, when that glue dries, it'll dry flat. Okay, so now we've got this piece on. So now you're going, okay, well that's great. So now how do we get the string on? Easy.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was wondering about, Cindy.
This is actually a piece of crochet thread. You could use the leftover piece of twine if you wanted. Absolutely fine.
I think everybody has twine in there. They have like a really neat gold colored twine.
Oh, cool. Yep.
So
whatever you use.
Yeah, whatever you want to use, but you have a couple options.
Yep. So what you want to do is take whatever option you have. I think this is probably about a yard, because what we're going to do is we're going to feed it underneath the circle first. Actually, I'm going to give myself just a little bit longer tail.
I'm very curious about this, Cindy. I'm anxious to see how you do this.
Just a little bit longer tail. I'm going to feed it under here first, pull it up snug against that brad, and then I'm just going to tie a square knot right over left. And then you're going to snug it down underneath the circle, and then left over right. Again, snug it down underneath the circle. If you don't want this tail to show, sorry. Although I'm left-handed, I use scissors right-handed. Don't.
I was just wondering about that.
Yep, I'm a softball player. I bat right-handed, but I throw left-handed. Anyway, and just get in there, and then you can just clip that off. You can kind of tuck it down. So now you've got this, and then to close it, you're going to take it, start. I can bring it around the side. Go from the bottom, go around, bottom, around, as many times as you want, and then just take this, and there's your closure.
Very cute.
So that,
Very cute.
that's how that works.
And that's the double flap library pocket with ledger closure. I love the name of it. Love it, love it.
So that is that piece. Okay, so now we're going to set those aside, and now we're going to go into making our tags for our folder, for our folio. Remember we cut, these tags are for the pocket, the A9 pocket, and we cut those ahead of time. I can't remember off the top of my head what dimensions they are, but
they're in the directions,
right? Yeah, they are in the directions. I want to say they're not quite 5 by 7. Anyway,
But
so
they're these right here.
Yep,
I think they're really neat.
they're those right there. I have pre-punched. I have a tab punch, and I have pre-punched tabs that we're going to put on there, and I do offset them. Yes, I will ink the edges of my tabs. To begin with, I'm going to fold these in half and get them just about as even as I can.
If you don't have a tab punch, sometimes I just cut a rectangle and then I round the corners.
Yep.
And then it looks like a nice tab too. So if you
you
want to get it done and you don't have one.
You can also use a circle punch
Oh, true.
and fold
true.
it, a circle punch, or fold it in half, or
Glue them back to back or something.
Exactly. Okay, there we go. And here's another one that I'm going to do. And a lot of the things we're doing right now, guys, are the fun things. We're not going to get to a lot of decorating because I want you to be able to do decorate as you want, but we'll go through and show this. So I put the red snowflake. These are just scraps. It doesn't have to be the red snowflakes. If you like one of the other ones that you want to make a tab out of, that's fine. But I'm just going to glue this to the bottom. And I did offset these a little bit, so I'm going to just put that there. And then I'll just come back in with my glue and glue down the top of the tab. And we'll do that on the green as well. And I'm just grabbing a paper towel, guys.
You grabbed a paper towel, Cindy. We just had a question of what paper Cindy's using.
Yep.
And she's using the Happy Christmas from Cartabella. It's a new holiday line that came in this season, and
Yep.
it's really beautiful with the black
And
the red and the green.
It has everything that you need to do this. I want to get to the point where I want to show you. It has a sticker sheet, but I'm going to show you how you use talcum powder to make the stickers actually ephemera.
Nice.
So, not that, I don't love me ephemera. If anybody knows me, I have ephemera books and I have all sorts of stuff. But if all you have is a sticker sheet, then you can just do that, and I'll show you how to make ephemera out of stickers. So, all right, that's glued down. Burnish that glue in. Whoops, lifted that up. I was a bit overzealous with my bone folder. And now these two can go in this pocket. All right. And there we go.
So if you're just joining us, Cindy was here last Saturday morning, same same bat time, same bat place, right, Cindy?
Exactly.
And she did part 1 of this Christmas folio that she's making out of a black file folder. So you could always go back if you're really interested in how she got to where she is today. That sounds kind of funny too, doesn't it?
Yeah, I
Cindy?
know. Yeah.
You could go back and you could watch part 1 where she actually kind of formed the folder and got the shape and the portfolio base going.
Yep. So now what we're going to do is we've got our pieces that we've cut. We're going to make our tags. And I have a template. See, Christmas folio tag template. These are what I want to use for my top corners. And how I did this is I just happened to get one that I free cut it. This is not something that I bought. This is just something that I made for myself. And what I did is, here's a piece of, this is for the front tag, which is for the front pocket, is I just took the, my pair of scissors and I cut a corner. And I will show you how to do this. How I did it. I want to cut the corner. And here's what we want. So I cut this corner. I'm going to cut it off. Okay. So I cut the corner and I cut it off. And I took the corner and I flipped it 180 degrees over to the other side.
I always get confused about this, Cindy.
Tell me about it. And then I came in with my scissors and I cut the other corner. Now I have my tab corners. And then I made a template out of an old piece of file folder, old piece of cardstock or whatever. And now I can just take this and move it across. Yes, I know. But I have to, guys. I have to ink. So here is one of the tabs. Now you'll notice I didn't punch any holes. It's just going in here. I didn't punch any holes. I didn't, I'm just making my tags.
So do you do that later, Cindy?
If I want.
If you want holes.
Yep.
The
If you
tags
want
don't
holes,
have to have holes.
nope. They can have tabs. You can use a piece of ribbon and fold it across, fold it over and attach it to the top with I'm not going to actually ink all these guys because I want to make sure I get to the front cover and everything, and I must imagine that.
We're only halfway, Cindy. We got an hour and a half to go. So
I know. I was like, what?
we still got time.
So, but I would come in here again and ink all of my edges. This is actually going to be for inside the folio, so I'm going to put that aside. And this is the large tag for the front. And I'm, again, just because my template doesn't fit, but all I want to do is line up the side and the top. And I can just take my template and cut. There are all sorts of die cuts for tags, and there's punches and that type of thing, which are awesome. I actually have a punch like my corner rounder that is tag tops, but there are times where I don't want that. It's not as deep as I want, or it's too deep or something. I want it shallower. So I just make my own.
Well, I like how you're kind of making them standard throughout your album by doing using the same pattern. Then all your tags look more
uniform.
Uniform.
Yeah. You don't, but like I said, you don't have to if you don't want to. So now we've got, and I'll put
you
these in.
Show where the big ones go, because that's a special place.
The big,
surprise! There's a pocket in the back.
The one is longer. The one in the red plaid is longer. The one with the trees and the snowflakes goes here, which I will be removing it because.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Move it down.
So
sorry.
So the one with the trees is a little shorter. So but it goes in the front, and I will remove this because we got to put the decorating in the back. The red plaid one goes here. In that pocket, And then I thought I had one more. There's one more that goes here. What did I do with it? Cindy, what'd you do with it? Anyway, there is a pocket that's supposed to go there.
There's another tag. Well, here, you could probably show it in this book.
Yeah, yeah. There is another.
Cindy has another tag somewhere.
Somewhere there's another tag. And I don't, you know what, I don't think I cut it. But it's another scrap. We'll get to that.
Well,
this I
people
know
can
goes.
probably add extra tags
Oh,
to
gosh.
all your scraps and
Absolutely.
things, so that's not a problem.
Or don't put anything there. You know,
a photo.
put photographs or whatever. This tag, this is going to go into this pocket here. And what I'm going to do here, again, it's another tab that I had punched before.
You're so organized. We have everything clipped together.
Paper clips, I'm a friend when it comes to when I make things. And for anybody who showed me or watched last week knows I paper clip fronts and backs, especially with those envelopes. You know, the front and the back. This way I don't use something that I wanted for something else. And on this one, I actually believe, yes I did. Okay. I corner rounded these pieces, this particular piece, with the 1/2 inch. And I just, you can round the corners. Again, you can just round the bottom corners. You could just round the top corners. You could just not round any of them. You could round all 4 of them.
And we do have a question about the envelopes, and we do carry those here at Memory Bound, and we do have them in black. I don't think they're online, but you can just call us here at the store, and we'd be happy to get whatever you need. Or stop in. If you're local, come on in and see us.
Oh, absolutely. They have a great selection. They have craft ones. Those are my favorite.
green,
You should see I have, and like sizes, 4 or 5 different sizes. I have stacks. I come in and I add to my collection. I have stacks at home. Okay. Now, I wanted to ink that because if I'm inking my cardstock, and I did not do that on my other ones, I try to do it so I don't have.
And if you're just joining us, Cindy's using Gathered Twigs Distress Ink. You could use your favorite brown, any brown,
Yep.
and I think you could use a black or a red if you wanted to.
Absolutely.
Or combine them.
Yep. Whatever makes you happy. Whatever makes you
Everybody
happy.
happy at Memory Bound, Cindy.
Yeah, it's my happy place.
goal.
If any of you see my shirt, it says, I don't need therapy, I just need to go to Memory Bound. Yes.
It's a good day for a long sleeve shirt too. It's a little cooler here in
Yep.
Iowa.
It's fall. Fall has sprung, that's all right. I love fall. I'm not a big fan of what comes next. As most people around here will know, I'm a fan of triple digit weather. I love hot and humid, or hot. That's just my thing. Which to my husband's chagrin, he melts when it gets to be 70-ish. He starts to melt. Okay, so that piece, that tag is going to go into that envelope. So now we've got those tags done, and I'm looking just to make sure, and I have used it for something else, but that's all right. So I'm not going to worry about it. So those are the tags for the card. So now let's see what my my crystal ball of instruction tells me that we could do. We get to do the cover.
Oh, good.
We get to do the cover. Okay, so I'm opening up my cover, and what I have used for the cover is I have used my stitch slots.
And everybody should have one of those in their kits.
Yep, it's a Tim Holtz die.
It's this really fun die, and it's I think it's $12.99 or $11.99.
I'm sorry, it's cheap. I can't. I mean, for as much as you use it, I've used mine. It's worth every penny. Worth every penny. Okay, I just inked around the outside, and I dry fit everything. So this is going to go on the bottom of your to the kind of the bottom right hand. This is where I put mine of the cover. The next piece that we're going to use is, where is it at, Cindy? It's the Joy from the, trying to think what the name of the, come on, Cindy, the name of the piece is, the card piece. It's the one that has, it's this one. It's the one that has all the
You're wondering the paper?
yeah, what the name of it is, and I don't remember it off the top of my head what the name of it is. Anyway, it's the page that has all these like chalkboards with the wooden frames on it, and it's the wood grain that's on the opposite side. I cut out the Joy from that and ink the edges.
Okay, these all have to be
Okay.
changed to $11.99.
And then this
There's some on the wall.
is going
This
to
has increased all
be
their
put
prices.
down on the bottom left. Now,
And that's-
you'll
that's a
notice
lot. That's like $2.
there is glitter
Although I thought it was kind of cheap at
on
$9.99.
this lovely, what I like to call Charlie Brown tree. Okay, this is Stickles, or the liquid glue. I did use diamond dust, and I used mercury glass. I'm not going to put it on here because it would never dry and it would get everywhere. So, but that's what's on there. So we've got the stitch slots down. We've got, dry fit. We've got the Joy down to the bottom.
I
And
like how you call it dry fit, Cindy.
yeah, it's just because this way I know
I like that term. I'm going to use that.
please do. And note, I'm not really measuring. I just kind of seeing where everything is. Now I have taken a couple different die cuts and done Merry Christmas. Now, this one, this is the same die cut. This is the Cartabella, the Merry Christmas die cut that does come with with the collection, and I should say but you can purchase that where the Merry and then the Christmas, each
It's
type
$12.99.
12 separately, really. They're separate, all right? But this time I used the Merry from that, and I used the brown. And then this is one of my favorite Christmases. This is actually from the new Tim Holtz The Vault collection, but this is actually from a die cut that he had out either last year or a couple years ago in a larger format. And it has, I don't even remember how many other die cuts it has on that vault. Anyway, so what I did is I cut it out in the green, and then I just glued it onto a piece of brown, or excuse me, a piece of the tan, and then just eyeballed it and just cut it out. So I'm going to put that on here like this. Again, real life crafting. And so that's how that's going to look. Do I like how that looks? Again, you can use whatever you want. Maybe you want this to say family. Maybe you want it to say happy holidays or just holidays. Or maybe you want it to say whatever. Or maybe you don't want it to say anything. That's fine. That is absolutely okay. But I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to show you a little bit, and I'm going to be brave. I am going to, people will laugh at me. I'm not going to glue this down. I'm going to use 1/8 inch score tape. And you don't want to put it here. Well, actually I will. I will put 1/8 inch score tape across the top, along the sides, and along the bottom. Sometimes I will use score tape instead of glue, because if you glue things down, especially with pockets, that glue, as you press it down, is going to spread, and it's going to migrate towards the center. When you put score tape down, that's where it is. It doesn't, so you get more pocket space. Again, personal preference. So I'm going to put that. I don't know if you can see that. That's kind of busy. I'm going to move this out of the way. Put my score tape, because the score tape is going to go on the back side, which is the green side. So I'm just going to put along the edge. And you notice as we were talking earlier, I have already inked my stitched slots. And I'm going to put this across the bottom, and I do lift my edges so I can make sure my score tape goes all the way across. Guys, if I keep flipping out of frame and scooting out of frame, just holler at Kelly and say, get back in frame, because I have a tendency to drift. Sorry about that. Anyway, I'm going to put that up. And 1/8" score tape is pretty easy to just tear. I do have a little. Actually it's a quilting ruler that I use to tear my anything bigger, 1/4 inch or bigger. I don't ever use scissors to cut score tape. I just tear it. But that, again, personal preference, just me. Okay, so now I've got my score tape on.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and smushing it down. Again, looking, dry fit, where do I want it? Yeah, it's about, 1/4 inch or so. I could even tilt it a little bit if I wanted to. I kind of like that. Anyway, doesn't have to be straight. If you want to come in here with the ruler and you want it to be straight and even, knock yourself out. Go for it. Whatever makes you happy. All right, whatever makes you happy. I feel like Bob Ross. Does anybody remember Bob Ross? Bless his heart. He was that painter on PBS. I don't believe he's alive anymore.
I remember Bob.
I don't believe but he has happy little trees, and he loves his little squirrel. I think of that whenever I say, just do whatever makes you happy. I feel like, it would be something that he would say. All right, so now I've got that down. Again, do not put score tape on these lines, because you're closing up your pockets. You just want to put it around the perimeter. Ooh, there's a geometry word. Around the outside of your stitch slots. And this is where I take one of these and I just look at it and go, yeah. And remember, when it comes to score tape, once it's down, it's down. So that's where it's going to live. That's where it's going to live. So that's down. Now you've got a piece of music paper that you have in your kit, and I've just taken mine and just torn it. It's very thin, so you can just take it and tear it. You could also, if you wanted to, sometimes I will do that. It's a pair of decal scissors, or if you have a decal cutter, and you can just cut. You can just cut it, and make it. Mine is torn. Okay, so let's see is it too wide? Because you just want to cover just a little bit. I happen to use, I think the Christmas song, the Christmas hymn that I have is Hark the Herald Angels Sing. And yep, it's a piece, and it doesn't quite cover the whole of the bottom of the stitch slots, but I'm going to put that down. I'm just going to take my glue, and just don't want to put a lot on. Some of your thinner papers can buckle and can pucker, and I'm just going to put it down. And I didn't, but that's all right. I'm not going to worry about it. I didn't ink the edge, guys. Oh, sacrilege. I didn't ink the edge. That's all right. I'll be all right. It'll be fine. I can handle it. It'll be okay. So, and then we're going to put the joy, we're going to attach it down on towards the bottom left. And if you want to overlap it a little bit, your piece of music, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine as well. But again, we're just going to put some, and I've already inked this. I'll put this down here. Oops. And just a little bit of glue. And I'm going to lay that down about right there. So far, here's what our cover looks like. We've got the stitch slots, we got a piece of music, and we've got that joy, the Christmas tree with the little Charlie Brown tree, I call it, and that's on the front. So that's what we've got so far. Now we're going to take, again, I'm going to take my Merry and my Christmas, and actually I'm just going to leave them there, and you'll see why I want to do that. I've taken some of the other pieces from those little tag cut aparts, and I want to make this a tag. So I'm going to take one that's cut like a tag, and I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to just use it as a template, and I'm going to cut the corners. And that's how I got the tag for the brown wooden tag. Again, it's going to be, I'm going to put ink around the edges, and that one goes here. The other one that I used from the little tag cut aparts is the sleigh, the Merry and Bright, and it's going to go kind of up here. Doesn't matter, you know, just kind of wherever.
It's looking good, Cindy.
Now comes some interesting fun. I'm going to show you how you have a sticker sheet in your, and I have to grab my sticker sheet, guys.
While Cindy's doing that, there's been a lot of questions about Cindy's tab punch that she used on these tags. Let me see if I can pull one out. This is a punch that was previously made by Marvy, I think it was. Marvy, and EK Success has the same punch coming out, and it has been out of stock or unavailable, and it should be available later, late October, early November. So if you were interested in it, it is a cool punch. I've got one very similar, and I use it all the time. If you're interested, you can call us or send us an email, and we'll be happy to hold one for you when they arrive. Like many supplies, it's been hard to get things like the punches, and hopefully they're on a boat or maybe in a port, and they're on their way.
It would be nice, yes. I borrow Kelly's.
She used to borrow mine all the time.
I would bring 2 or 3 pieces of cardstock in and say, Kelly, can I come in and use your punch? And she would be so gracious, and she'd bring it in from home, and she would let me do that. And so
you got
I
your
thank
own,
you.
Cindy.
I know.
Just like a grown-up, a big girl.
I
You got your
know.
own.
It's like I am a big girl. So what we're going to do, guys, is here's your sticker sheet. And I'm going to show you how to take a sticker off of this, and make it into a die cut. All right? The first one we're going to do is we're going to use the Merry Christmas sticker. And you're like, okay, well, what I have, this is baby powder. And I have it just in one of these little like condiment cups. You can get these at any discount store, cheap, okay? And then I have just a cosmetic sponge, and I have it in here. And I do put a paper towel down just because you want to contain the powder as much as you can, okay? So we're going to do the Merry Christmas. Again, stuck to my finger. And I'll open up my powder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of hold it. I'm going to take my powder. I'm hoping that you can see this okay. I think I'm in frame. And I'm going to dip my sponge, the end, and I'm just going to powder it. I'm just going to put baby powder on it. And I'm going to powder, and I'm going to powder, and I am just powdering the back. And if you notice now, it's not sticky. It's not sticky at all. Because you're powdering that stickiness away. So we're going to do that on the back of, and now this Merry Christmas sticker that was very sticky here just a little bit ago, right? It was very sticky. What you're going to do is now the sticker has now become a piece of ephemera that you can put in your stitch slots. and you can move it in and out. So we're going to do that since I've got the powder out. We're going to also be doing that with this meet under the mistletoe tag. We're gonna take that one off the sticker sheet. Yeah, punch that, take that little hole, and again, it's sticking to me, so I know it's sticky. And just take your little sponge, and we're just gonna pounce it on top of the sticky. And now again, your sticker has now become ephemera. So I got that.
That's a great technique, Cindy.
It's just, can everybody see it? Am I still in frame? Am I in frame okay?
Perfect.
Okay.
You're perfect.
I do know we're going to be, eventually we're going to be using the Merry Christmas. I know that one's going to be used. I will powder all of the pieces at one time, just like I said. I do put a paper towel underneath to try to contain the powder as much as I can.
So you don't dump it in your hand like I do to save space and be in a hurry.
I did one time as I dumped it on top of this. And
that's messy.
If you've ever seen me bake, which I don't bake, I get more flour on me than I do in cookies and things. So I did try to dump the powder on here once. And I've also tried using a cotton ball. Cotton balls leave threads. They leave
sure.
cottons,
They
and
kinda
so
stick more,
yeah, at first. So I did find the sponge makeup sponges work really, really well. So that's another one I know I'm going to use, and I know I'm going to use the little stocking.
That's cute.
That I know that's going to go in a pocket. I know. So I just try to do. Now, we're going to come across something, and I'll probably come across something and go, oh, yep, I need to make that one an ephemera. So, but these are the ones that I know off the top of my head that I'm going to need. So, cover your powder. Put your little piece of it, or put it aside, your little sponge, put it aside. I'm going to, we will use this one on the front cover, and I will put my my other two pieces along the side. I'm going to dump my powder out because I may need to use that. So we're going to put that over here again. So now we've got this tag that is actually a piece of ephemera that's going to go in this top pocket here. But what we're going to do is, I don't know if any of you have lived close and you've been into Memory Bound before, or you may have watched some of their videos. Maggie, who also works for Memory Bound, she is. I want to be Maggie when I grow up, and I also want to be Katie when I grow up. She just does the best, the absolute best. Home decor, mixed media. She's my mixed media guru. I want to be Maggie when it comes to mixed media. I mean, she just ideas. And Diane, everybody's got such great ideas. But this is Maggie's, what she calls her fluffy bow. Well, excuse me. It is actually on a Memory Bound has a YouTube channel. I don't think they've uploaded anything for a while, but this was like 2 years ago. You can find it. Go to YouTube and put in Memory Bound. And Kelly's done some cards and some different inserts and things. Maggie's done some things on it. I think Katie has. I think Diane might have. Anyway, but this I have this particular video. This is saved in one of my personal subscriptions. So is Maggie's Fluffy Bow. And here are a couple different ones. This is one that I made using 1/8 inch just ribbon. We're going to use this piece of, you've got a piece of this twine in your kit. It's about, it's probably about a yard. You really only need about 18 inches. because it just, otherwise it gets too cumbersome. But if you like that, that's good. I'm only going to use about 18 inches. Kelly, I was telling them about your YouTube channel.
I was just going to find it and link it for everybody.
Yep, this is, and Maggie's Fluffy Bow is what I have, is what I've saved. It's one of my personal, I go to, and there's a couple of things that you've done on, it's like, nope, I got to save those. And Katie, and yeah, so I do that all the time. So, yep, this is a yard. I'm going to use 18 inches, so I'm just going to cut this in half. So, I'm going to use 18 inches of this twine. I also have another piece that's about 6 inches or so. It's a hunk like this. I'm going to lay this down. So what you're going to do is you've got special tools that you're going to need. Your fingers. Okay? When Maggie's made hers, she used all 4 fingers and because it made a bigger bow. This is going to be a smaller bow, so I'm going to use my first 2 fingers. Okay? This is your bow tool. So what I'm going to do is you take your ribbon or your twine or your string or whatever it is that you want to make your bow with, and you're going to lay it vertically down your finger, down the inside of your front side of your fingers, and you hold it there. All right, and then you're going to wrap the bow this around and come down the bottom. So it's like this, almost like you're going to wrap your hands around. Okay, wrap this around your fingers, but you're going to come down, bring it around the bottom, and now we're going to do figure 8s. We're going to go in between and around, and I try to catch this little tail. In between and around, in between. And the farther you spread your fingers apart, the bigger the bigger the loops of your bow is going to be. And you just keep figure 8. Okay? So it looks like this. All right? There. So it kind of looks like that. Does that help? And then pinch it in the center and kind of wiggle it off your fingers. This is also why you don't want to do it too tightly, because you got to try to wiggle it off your fingers. Again, real-time crafting, people. Cindy's trying to get this off her fingers. And there we go. I'm just kind of, but I'm still pinching it in the middle. So I've pinched it in the middle. Now I've got my little piece of twine, my little piece, and I'm going to lay that in the center, lay the bow in the center, and I'm going to I'm just going to take this and tie it off in the center. Oops. It's hard to see. I'm sorry. It's hard to see when it's so small. But I hope you can see that I'm just taking it and pulling it in the center. Now, if this was ribbon and if this was fluffy ribbon, and you've got here's your ends, you could take these loops and pull them apart. And if it's the silk ribbon, this kind of flops and it's really fluffy. But this is Maggie's Fluffy Bow, and I make these all the time. Again, here's one that's red, and I tied it, and you can kind of see how you kind of just fluff it out and all that type of thing. So we've got Maggie's Fluffy Bow, and we're going to put this on the top of this green tag. And so you're going to take these long strings. Remember that little short 6-inch piece that we tied this in, and we're going to tie it. We're going to tie your bow onto the back of this tag. And we're just going to tie it on. You know, again, right over left, left over right. You know, you can leave the strings hang, you can cut them, whatever you want to do. But there is your topper. There is your tag topper. Now, it turned out pretty good. Yeah, all right. Sometimes I surprise myself. Now, for this same tag topper, you got
Loop pen?
well, I don't know. you've got a charm. Mine happens to say believe, but you got one that says joy. I'm using a loop pin. You can use a safety pin or whatever you might have, and then you can take that and then just pin it through that knot and adhere it shut. And there is that piece of ephemera for the cover. So now you've got two stickers that you've made as ephemera that are in your stitch slots. Now we're going to adhere the Merry Christmas. And with things that are, let me see, things that are small, like the Merry Christmas, and that are fine, shall we say. The font is really hard, and it's hard to hold on to. I use a pair of tweezers, and I just dot my glue. So I'm going to move this out of the way so I can see. So I just take my glue, it's got a very fine point on it, and I'm just going to make dots. I don't try to glue the whole entire thing. I just make dots. Because remember, when you press this down, when you press glue down, it's going to spread. So I just make dots, just like that. And then your tweezers also help you, because then you can take this and you can say, okay, I want my Mary right there. And you just place it down. And you can just press it in. Sometimes I'll take a paper towel just in case the glue might sneak out. So now the Mary is done. And then I'll take the Christmas and I will put it, kind of center it underneath. Again, just a little bit of glue around the outside. Remember, glue spreads when you press it. And do I like it here? Yes, I do. And okay, there we go. Guess what, guys? Cover's done.
Hey, Cindy, I don't.
Yep.
Cindy, this isn't cover related, but I thought you might like to hear that Tammy's been dyeing paper all week. And she loved that you showed them how to do that last week.
Oh, thank you, Tammy. I am so glad you're enjoying that process. It's so fun. And once you get started, it's hard to stop.
I believe that for sure.
Once you get started. So now your cover is really done. There's your cover. Now you can add glitter, you can add other charms, but you've got Maggie's bow, you've got your pins. I've showed you how to make your stickers so they can be ephemera and all sorts of different things. So now your cover is done. Okay, so now we got to go inside because we've got another place to put a piece of music and another sticker. So we're going to remove the big tag. And here is where you're going to put another little piece of music, which I will definitely be tearing that down. And then it is the Filled with Joy. It's this sticker right here. And that is going to go.
Oh my gosh, it fits perfectly, doesn't it, Cindy?
Yeah, it does. And I want to say that that's all on me. I figured that out. No, sheer luck, but it works beautifully. And it's going to go here, and it's going to go over the top. So I'm going to just take this, and you know what? I want it to go all the way over to the edge. So yes, I'm just going to take it and rip it. No, I didn't measure it. It's going to be fine. And I'm going to take a little bit more off the bottom. Again, be brave. It's okay.
Well, if you don't have the music paper, you can just center that sticker too.
Absolutely.
If you don't have the music paper.
You can layer that sticker and there's other little tinier stickers over the top. But again, you should have gotten music paper in your kit. For those of you who I don't believe they have any more kits, but but you can find music paper, you can find digitals online, you can find books of music. Look at Goodwill and all sorts of places, but that you can find old books and things. Okay, that looks good right there. And I'm just going to put some glue on the back. Not a lot of glue because I don't want it to buckle. And I keep thinking I'm out of frame.
No, I think you're good, Cindy. You're really good.
Okay, so there's my piece on music.
This is like,
Yep, there it goes. Thank you. Now I'm going to take my sticker. Yes,
gotta ink it.
I ink stickers. I do when I remember. If you ever see me on the street, just say, "Hey, you're the one who inks everything." Yes, I do.
You and Diane. Diane is
Yes.
a real inker also. And she inks everything.
Actually, lately I've been into walnut stain lately. I don't know why.
That's
but
a nice dark brown.
It's really, yeah, it's really. Okay, so now this is going to go. There's a little bit of green, you see. I just want to have a little bit that's showing. I try to get it so it's a little bit even from the edge of the top. I don't care that this is covered up, and I'm going to just put it down.
That looks good. That looks so good,
So-
especially with the wood grain paper and
Uh-huh.
stuff.
So that's there. Here's this. We got that. Okay, so that is that piece of decoration that's done. We've got our two little tags that we've done, which I inked one, not going to take the time to ink the other one. In this envelope, I've taken two of the on the cut apart sheet. There are some 3x4s, there's 4x6s, there's all sorts of different strips, and I've cut them all apart. What we did for the pockets in here is the Merry Christmas. I just took that again, cut around the outside. You notice I really don't care. It is supposed to be kind of wobbly, shall we say?
Yeah, if it's a wood
Yep.
frame, it's going to be
Okay.
imperfect.
So this one says Merry Christmas. You've got this on the back. You could put a little photograph on there if you wanted to, or put another little piece of paper, a little journaling space. So that's one of the pieces that's going to go in here. And then one of the other things that I do have a special punch at home, but I don't ever use it because I use this technique. I'm going to make this into a ticket, and I'm going to punch out corner tabs. So what I use is I have a 1/2 inch circle punch. And what I'm going to do, I'm not measuring, be brave, is I'm going to take it, and can you see just the tip of the corner of that 3x4 card in the center of the corner punch? And I'm going to punch it. And now you've got a corner tab. And now it looks like a ticket. And you just take it, punch, take it. I happen to have a 1/2 inch punch. You could use, I probably wouldn't go anything bigger than maybe a 3/4 inch. But you can do whatever you want and just experiment. So now I've got my corners, I got my tabs. So now I have my joy ticket.
That's another good
Dun, dun,
tip,
dun.
Cindy. That's a really
Dun,
good
dun, dun.
tip.
Use those things that you have. Yeah, it's nice to have all these little specialty punches and stuff and that type of thing. I come from a quilting family, so in our house, whoever dies with the most family wins. I'm right up there. Anyway, it's fun, and it's fun to have all the little tools, but sometimes it's just not practical. So use what you've got to make these types of things. Anyway, so that's another, that goes in your pocket, done. This piece, remember we talked about hiding that magnet. It's underneath this snowflake paper, and it's underneath the wreath paper. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a little added oomph, shall we say, and I'm going to take the Noel little word from those wonderful chalkboard pieces. Again, this is all on the back. These are all on the back side of the wood grain paper. And now, personally, somebody could do this where you could put the magnet on top of here and then put this on top and it would cover it and be fine. Personal preference. I like my magnets hidden. Again, that's just me. I'm going to look at this. I'm going to put glue on about the upper 2/3. and let the lower third kind of hang. Again, remember, glue spreads. So you don't have to worry too much about that. And I'm just going to go up here and go, yep, that looks good. Look it down, look, see where it's about even. Yep, that looks good.
Liquid glue gives a lot of forgiveness, so you can still move things around.
There are times where I actually put liquid glue on top of my score tape to give me just another little bit of just wiggle room, just a little bit extra. Okay, so there's that pocket. That's done. Now we're going to go to the front of the A9 card, or excuse me, the A9 envelope.
Oh, it's an A9 envelope.
This one is an A9 envelope, and we're going to take this. Again, this is from the cut apart page that has the 4x6s and everything on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut on the outside white line. There's 2 white lines on it. I'm going to take this and I'm going to just take my scissors and cut around the outside. Again, this is one of those that I will take once I get everything completed. I will put my stickles, my mercury glass stickles, or my diamond stickles on the snowballs that are on the here, A9, 2 A2s.
Is this A9? I don't know that we have black.
You did. Or if you don't have stickles, that's fine. Use your liquid glue and put some glitter on it. I know in a lot of the memory bound blogs, and I know Janet, if you've watched any of the videos, and Janet does awesome projects. She makes some great cards and things. She has referenced this as well. Diane has a glitter mix that it's like equal parts of clear rock candy, which is a Tim Holtz glitter, and then there's another glitter that's really extra fine, really, really fine, and you mix them together and it's a great glitter because that extra fine gets underneath the clear rock candy. Oh, it's beautiful. But you could put drops of glitter and put the glitter on here as well. So we've cut this down, all right? And what we're going to do is we're going to make a corner tuck for this, and we're going to put 1/4 inch. We're going to use 1/4 inch score tape along the right hand side and along the bottom, and you hear all my crinkling, and that's going to be a tuck spot. So I'm going to move my book out of the way. I always have to double check, so it's going to go, the tape is going to go on the one long side and the bottom short side. So here's my tape, and here's my trick about tearing 1/4 inch. I've got a little, it's a 2.5 inch square, it's like a quilting ruler, it's a piece of plexiglass, and I just take that down and I just rip. I use this a lot for that. That's how I do mine. So that's the one side. Always make sure. And then I wanted to go across the bottom. And the same thing. I'll just put that across the bottom. And tear that off. Burnish those edges in. Ink it. Take the tape off. If I've got a little score tape that's hanging out, just kind of switch those in, and then you're going to take this and put this in the bottom right hand corner on top of the snowflake, and now you have a corner. And then, and actually I should have put this on first. So we're gonna, again, real-time crafting, guys. I have 2 Christmas trees from, I think it's the Woodlands. It's called Woodlands. Let me see if Kelly's got that here. No, but I know they've got this. This die they can still get this die for you.
Everybody got one tree.
They got one tree.
And I'll go find the die set.
Okay. I end up cutting 2. One of them I will put underneath here, and I will do that at a later time because the other one we'll put on a different place for you guys. So, so that's where that would be right there. And then I just happened to take the recipe card that was one of the one of the cut aparts. Let's see. Yep, there's the die set. So it has 2 trees on it. One of them you can put there, and I will do that at a later time. And then the recipe card right in here. I'm going to put my tree in here so I don't forget where it is. I was in a panic this morning, guys. I couldn't find my trees. I had packed them away. I should know better. All right. So the front of your A9 card is now done. All right. Now we're going to go to, this is where you get your tree. Get the tree that you have, okay, that came in your kit. And what we're going to do is we're going to glue that tree right there. All right. So again, it's one of those that you can take. Actually, I will probably use my tweezers and hold it because it's so, I don't want to say flimsy. Flimsy is not the word. It's such fine and delicate cut that, and I'm just going to put dots. And this way I can hold it and make sure I get glue. It would be so hard to try to do lines of glue, to get every single piece with glue on it. That's why I just put dots. Because you've heard me say probably 20 times just in the last 10 minutes, when you press it down, glue spreads. So you don't need glue on every piece. Now, another option would be when you're cutting these out or cutting your finer die cuts out, there is a product that's like double-sided tape that you can put on the back of the cardstock first, and then run it through your die machine, and then it's already like a sticker. Okay, it's like a big Xyron kind of thing. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to just kind of line it up. Let me see if I can get this up in frame. Again, don't worry if the glue shows through because it dries clear. And okay, and there we go. And just press it down. Take my paper towel, and excuse me, my arm's in the way. And there is the tree on top of the A2 envelope that's in the back. That's adhered to the back of your folio. Now, again, we're going to take the Happy Holidays, and this is one of the cut aparts. And Cindy is frantically looking right now for all her cut aparts, and there we go. Happy Holidays. See, we've got those 4x6, that recipe card, and this and these, and there's all sorts of these little cut aparts all on one sheet, and we'll be using a lot of these. So it's the Happy Holidays off of that cut apart sheet. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ink the edge, and we're just going to glue this down on top of the tree. And that's all we're going to do. Glue it. You could use double stick tape. I could use score tape if I wanted to, but I'll just glue it. Whoops. Got some glue on my finger. Not a problem. And then just take it, and it's about, as my dad would say, yay far from the bottom. And now the front of the back A2 envelope is done. So the next long one we're going to take is we're going to take from that same cut apart sheet. We're going to take the one that says, I will honor Christmas in my heart to keep it all the year.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's
And
I think
the
that's
font is beautiful and everything.
I think that's Dickens. I think that's from
You're very,
Tiny Tim, A Christmas Carol. I think that
You're
was a-
very more cultural than I am, Cindy.
Stop it. And I'm going to take the 1/4 inch. I am going to round the edges. Is that what I used? Maybe not. Maybe I used 1/2 inch. Nope, I used 1/4 inch. That's weird. Oh, okay. I'm going to use the 1/4 inch. And I'm just going to round the edges. Again, just kind of takes a little bit of the edge off, shall we say? No pun intended. Well, maybe. Okay. So, and
A little inking.
got a little
inking
ink,
going on.
little inking. This is going to be glued down as well. And where this is going to go is along here, along this edge. So
And Cindy, we're still doing well because we've got a half hour yet. So
I wish I had another hour and a half. There's so much stuff.
we
'Cause I-
could go on all day.
Oh,
with
I
Cindy.
wanna be
She
able-
always has so much to share.
Oh gosh, I want to. I was going to do paper clips and well, get the main stuff done. Okay, so here is this. It's it's about 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and there's that. Okay, so here's this page and that. Flip, flip, done, done. Now we're like, okay, well then here we go. So now we're into
Oh,
now-
this, yeah, you
now
got
we're
to show this.
now
This
we're
is a good one.
and now we're into the signature. And we're going to take this. It's the most wonderful time of the year. This 3x4. I'm going to round one corner. This is going to be a tuck spot on the inside corner of your signature. So again, corner rounder. I like to round quarters of my tuck spots. It's a thing.
Well, it kind of makes things go in smoother, I think, Cindy. I mean, you don't have to round them,
Nope,
and I never have, but I'm going to now.
because they don't catch.
Yeah,
They don't catch. So
they're not as pointy.
right. So what I'm going to do again with my 1/4 inch tape is I'm going to tape along the long left hand side, or if you're looking at it from the front, the left hand side and the bottom. I always have, but also if you corner round it, you know which long side to put your tape on. You don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to take my little handy dandy 2.5 inch little quilt ruler and put it down and tear.
Looking good. That's okay. I've not seen that, Cindy.
And this, I'm going to take this across again, and tear. And it just makes it easy. And I'm going to pull, oops, sorry, I was out of frame.
You're good. You're good.
I'm just pulling the paper backing off. I'm going to put it on the inside front cover. I'm going to match up the bottom and the sides. If you don't get it exactly, if you're a 1/32 of an inch off that you see green, embrace. Vive la différence.
Yes.
Okay,
I love
it's
it,
okay.
Cindy.
And then this is another 4x6. Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house. That's this another little cut apart, and I've just put that right there. All right, now another one that I'm going to want to do is my square. My square.
So you're doing another tuck then?
Yep, another tuck spot.
Good.
And this was that other 4x4 that I have. We're going to do the other side, corner. We're going to ink the edges. I don't have anything actually tucked into this one at this particular time. And again, it's very handy to round the edges because then you know which edge you do not put the tape on.
And Cindy, this makes probably more sense to you, but Elena says I put a pop-up on my square quilty thing. Quilt thingy.
Yep. Perfect. Yep, one of those pop things like you put on the back of your phone. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what she means.
So she can put her fingers underneath.
Okay.
Yes,
Gotcha.
great idea. What a great idea. Yes. Good job. Yes. Thank you for sharing that tip. That's a great tip. I have one of those.
She
And
says she loves it for retrieving her score tape and it saves her fingers.
yep. Absolutely. Let's see. Where do I want to put this one?
And
gonna-
Dorothy thinks her signature is for everything is to be crooked.
Fortunately, keep a good record.
You have to make if your signature got put in crooked, it's probably because it shifted on you, and that's why the binder clips and you have to make sure that it's held firmly and steadily in place in one place.
And embrace it, right?
Yes.
Cindy? Embrace
If it's a
it.
little crooked, honestly, you're the only one who's probably going to know,
Probably. It's probably very slight.
and it's okay, and it's absolutely okay. So, there's another little tuck spot there. Now what I'm going to put is, excuse me, in the middle page, we're going to take a piece of scrap, and if I can find it, because of course you should see my messiness over here.
It's all off the camera. Nobody has to worry about it, right?
Exactly. I need to embrace it, don't I? I need to embrace the messy. I need to embrace it, and I'm not finding what is on the other side of this. Okay, black. There it is. Okay. We're going to take a, nope, wrong one. I'm going to take a piece, this is a piece of scrap. And actually, this is probably only, it's about 1.25 inches wide. So this is definitely, too wide.
Do you want me to grab a trimmer, Cindy? Or you got one? She just happened to have a trimmer also right here.
Yeah.
So we're good.
So I'm gonna go off camera. I'm gonna trim this so it's 1.25 inches wide.
All right.
So there, I'm
Going
gonna
off
do that.
camera. Barely off camera.
Barely off camera.
We see your trimmer. We just don't see your cutting. So
Yeah.
you're good.
Okay. You see the part of the legs of my trimmer.
Yep.
Let's see here, 1.25 inches. And sometimes these get so narrow, it's hard for me to get my fat
It
fingers
is
out of the
hard to
way.
hold it, isn't it?
Okay.
But everyone's loving what you're doing, Cindy, and you've taught us so much today. And just think, this is day 2.
Yeah.
We had we learned all kinds of stuff last week also.
Absolutely.
Very
Well,
valuable.
I thank you. And we're going to cut this 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches long, or 1.5 inches, 8.5 inches long, because that's the width of our page.
That makes sense.
Okay.
And I bet we're going to ink it, aren't we, Cindy?
Yes, ma'am. And I'm going to ink the top. See, I'm standing up now. So,
She's standing.
yeah. It's like, I can only sit so long. If you knew me, you'd be like, yeah, that's pretty much, I can't sit. Drives my husband crazy. And we're going to make a belly band out of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, again, you can use glue, but I'm going to go ahead and use just quarter inch score tape, and I'm going to just put 1/4 inch across the bottom, and I'm going to put a 1/4 inch across the top, and burnish those in, and take this, and I do have it on the left hand side of the page. So I'm just going to kind of line it up with the bottom of my page. And let's see, try to get it lined up. If for some reason that there's a little bit of an overhang, like on this one, there's a little bit of overhang at the top, all you have to do,
Snip it off.
yep, betcha, you just take your scissors and make sure you don't have the page next to it.
That's true.
Personal experience, just saying. My scissors happen to have like a Teflon coating on it, so it doesn't stick as badly, the tape and things. So, oh, but now since I cut it off,
They're hoping you have time for the paper clip today.
Okay,
You think
well-
you're gonna have time for that, Cindy?
well,
or-
we might if I get one done. And then in this belly band goes
Oh,
the little pocket.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Okay, so that goes there. Let me see. Oh, one more page. I'll do, and then I'll do a
we
paper
still
clip.
we still got 25 minutes, so I think we're still looking pretty good.
Okay. Well, on another page, we're going to do. Remember, I told you we're going to use Merry Christmas. We used this sticker that we didn't use as a sticker, right? We put powder on it. As you can see it on my fingers. Sometimes you can just wipe off the rest. Now I'm going to make this a stopper because we're going to put
Another trick. I love it.
we're going to put another piece across that is going to be a belly band. And Kelly's going to be like, I cannot wait until you leave because you have got. Okay, actually, it's a piece of. It's actually the other side of the wreath. That's the black. That is the black plaid.
So you're doing
and
a
we're
belly
gonna-
band going the other direction.
going
now.
horizontal.
That's awesome.
Okay, we're going to go horizontal, and I'm going to cut off. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the line. I'm not going to take it to my trimmer. I'm going to use the line of the plaid. Let's see how we did.
That's the good thing about plaid.
Yep. And it's not quite straight, but you know what? Good enough.
There she goes. There goes the ink.
Good enough for a small town. And again, but now we are going to put the, yes, I just threw away a scrap. I know.
It was pretty tiny.
Yeah, well, it's sacrilegious, but it's one of those things that sometimes you can't keep everything. You can't keep everything, but yeah, I could have used
anybody
it.
do that with the score tape, Cindy. That's so clever.
Oh, I use it. I will do that for anything up to. I don't have. I think 1/2 inch is as wide of score tape as I have that I use, so it works for me. An 1/8 inch is so narrow that you don't need it. At least I don't. Although there are times where I will use my scissors if it's a strange angle. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece that I've inked, and I'm going to take it. See, which way do I want it? Do I want to go this way? I want to go. And I'm going to put it this way.
Gosh, how do you decide?
And then you can kind of see where the center hole is. And I just kind of, I go ahead and put it up against the edge. You just what you don't want is you don't want it to go too close to the middle. And if you see a little bit of that, okay, that's fine. No big deal. So in here, this is where this tag is going to go. But you're like, well, it could fall through. So we're going to take
Figured it all
we're going
out.
to take this sticker that we've powdered, and we're going to put it at the bottom of the page, and we're going to put some glue on the back that we took the sticky off, but we're going to put
Now we
sticky
put it
back on.
back
And I'm just going to kind of use the edge, this little top kind of cut that they've used, and I'm just going to put glue on the back side from about here on down. I'm going to move my tag out of the way. So right here, again, if it, who cares?
Getting lots of hearts, Cindy. I think
Oh,
everybody's loving this today.
You guys are very, very kind, very, very gracious.
Well, Tina says wonderful ideas.
Oh, guess what? I almost
She
forgot.
almost didn't ink. Oh my gosh.
Almost. And I love I just hold this with my fingers and just kind of go around this with circles.
spinner?
Yeah.
Like a lazy Susan kind of.
Yep.
Well, maybe not a lazy Susan, but kind
It's
of.
a lazy Cindy. Anyway.
There you go.
Sorry. Okay, and then so this is just, you're going to adhere this down. And yes, I just smeared some ink from my inker, and it's all over my hands. And then now this becomes a stop for your tag.
That is so clever. I love that.
So that's,
I'm giving it hearts, Cindy,
Oh.
because I love it so much.
well, that's awesome. That's very kind.
Giving it memory bound hearts.
Awesome. Yay! I love memory bound hearts. Okay, so what we're going to do, we've got a little bit of time left. Now you can see, I have rubber stamps in the one that I made here. I use rubber stamps. I've used other pieces, like here's this says Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday Seasons, Greetings, all in one. I put that along one edge of a piece of paper. You could cut these apart, and you could put one here, and you could put one here, you know, you can do all sorts of things. So now we're pretty much kind of done. Okay, this is kind of what the finished product looks like. So let's make some ephemera. Let's make some pieces that have fun. Okay.
While you are gathering your stuff, Cindy, we had a question about what you're inking with. And she's inking with the Tim Holtz Distress Blending Tool. Cindy has the rectangle one. Here's the same thing in a round version, and it is foam. It's not felt. The felt coverings are used for alcohol ink, and the foam is used for regular ink. So,
Absolutely.
to answer your question, and we use those
Good
all
question.
the time.
Good question.
And
Okay.
I have both at home. I have the rectangle and I have the circle.
I do too. And I have the rectangle, I believe, was the original when they first came out with
Yes, it
stuff.
is the original, and the circle is the new one.
Right.
So.
And my alcohol ink ones are rectangle. So I just, and then what I do, I have one for each color of my distress inks, and I write on the bottom side of my
You're very organized. Very organized.
Yeah, with this one happens to be, used to come in blue, so you could use a Sharpie marker. Now they come in black, so I actually have a white pen that I write on, and I just, anyway, but that's, and I keep these in a Ziploc bag. So I know which color is which.
That's true.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to make a couple different kinds of paper clips.
Okay, here's the paper clip. So
Okay.
everyone, here we go.
Here's what we're
Paper
going to do. Is we're going to make a double-sided paper clip. Okay.
You don't know that's a paper clip, but inside is a secret.
And then we will make the single-sided paper clip, and this is a pocket, and this is in a piece of paper, and that paper clips onto
I
here.
didn't realize that's what that was when I saw it.
So, eeny, meeny, miny. Okay.
Everyone's happy about the paper clip.
This happens to be, again, you can see it's the opposite side. This is what the one that we're going to use for the single-sided paper clip. We'll do that one first. This one happens to be probably 6 inches by 3. The one I made is I use 3 by 5, kind of size. But what you're going to do is, again, you're not going to see this part. You're not going to see this part at all. We're going to fold it as wide as you'd like. Notice I'm not measuring. I'm just folding. Okay? I'm going to fold this side in. And how deep do I want a pocket? Because this is going to be a pocket. So I'm going to fold this over about like that. So, and I'm going to ink the edge so you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Of course I'm going to ink the edge.
Thank you, Paula.
And then I'll put a thumb punch in here. And then I can ink the edge. And trust me, when I ink the edge, you'll be able to see. And I'll pull it out and I'll open it up so you can see how it all goes together. Because sometimes, that white on white, it just makes it just a little bit difficult to see. And of course, I got to ink my folds because that's how I roll. Okay, so here's what we started with. We started with 3 inches by 6. Okay, and I happen to have, and I folded one side in. Didn't measure, don't care. I'm going to fold the other side in, and eventually we're going to put 1/8 inch score tape or glue, if you choose, along the sides here, and then this is going to be a pocket. But we got to put the paper clip on. This is your friend when it comes to making paper clips. And I am kicking myself right now because the end of my my clear packing tape has gone away. Where is it?
You want me to get one, Cindy?
Real-time craft. There it is. Found it. Real-time crafting. I'm all about real-time crafting. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of, I'm going to take my paper clip, and how it's got a longer side and a shorter side, longer side and shorter side. The longer side is going to go on the outside for the single, pardon me, for the single-sided paper clip. It's going to go on the outside. So you're going to put this in here in the center. You're going to kind of center it up. All right, there we go. And I might just leave a little extra, little extra like space at the top, because may need to, you know, if we wanted to put a piece of ribbon or something through there. Okay, so then I'm going to take a piece of packing tape. All right, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to cover the paper clip and smush it down, because you want that to hold securely. And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to put glue on this side. All right, so we're just going to put a little glue. Come on, glue. There we go. I'm afraid that my glue stopped up on me again. And then we're going to put that down and cover that packing tape. And now we're going to take 1/8" score tape, and you can see where the fold is. See where the fold is? We're going to put score tape from the fold out on both ends. So I'm going to eyeball it. Where's my fold? There it is. Put this down, tear, do the same thing on the other end. Put this down, tear, peel the paper back, fold this up. Ta-da!
Oh my gosh, Cindy, that's so cool.
Ta-da! Now we've got a piece, and then you can take, when you cut your papers and stuff apart, don't throw things away. Let's see here.
Oh, so you're using your dyed paper?
I just used dyed paper. I did on this particular one. If you just have regular paper, you could use that too. I mean, let's see here. What is this going to be too wide? Let me see. Remember, glue would
Trimmer?
probably.
Are you going to have to trim off camera?
Actually, no, because I will do. You know, I'm gonna live on the edge, y'all.
We love it when you live on the edge.
I'm going to live on the edge. Ta-da! There we go. Ink. 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 Again, you guys, you know, ink's optional. I mean, well, not in my world, but, you know, for you. If you're not an inker, that's okay.
While you're inking, Cindy, I missed this message, but Julie said she saw where, you know, on your packing tape that you can take a bread clip and put it on the end of the roll to help you find your edge. Have you seen that before?
I saw that with the packing tape and like masking. Oh, you're dating myself. Masking tape. That is a great idea. Those little, the square ones with the little hole cut out. Yes, that's awesome idea. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. That's awesome. So now this is a little tuck spot, little piece of a writing spot.
Write a secret little message in there.
Okay. And now you've got that paper clip. And again, we can then take, I mean, I've got all sorts of stuff, but I'm just going to put something real quick on here because it's, oh, I know what I could use. Yeah.
Oh, you got a bow made already?
Yeah, it's a little big, fluffy bow, but it's one of Maggie's. Could I feed it through here real quick?
We all like Maggie's bows.
Oh God!
And thanks for mentioning our YouTube channel because that is out there on YouTube. Her bows and.
Yep, you've made some great stuff. I think Katie's made something. Diane, a bunch of you guys.
We do a video every Tuesday, a Tuesday technique video, and they're all loaded on our YouTube channel. And then the pandemic hit, and we ended up doing videos every morning, and we haven't been able to get them from Facebook to our YouTube channel. So
Yep.
they're on Facebook right now.
There you go. See, but I know
We'll try to add more.
I just fed up fed a piece of
You
this is
fed
1/8
up,
inch.
Cindy?
Yep, I'm fed up. A piece of 1/8 inch ribbon through the top there. Again, and you just take it and tie it
a little
if
bow.
that's what you want. Whatever. That my bow. That's really a sad bow, but and you can hang stuff. You can hang charms and all sorts of things off of it. But now you've got a paper clip. That's the single-sided paper clip. Now we're going to do a double-sided paper clip. This one is a little, not really trickier per se, but there's pieces of it that you need to make sure that you get set correctly. You want your because what you're going to feasibly do is you're going to make this and you're going to fold this over your paper clip.
Does it help to show the one you made
Yeah,
already?
why don't you grab it?
I'm not sure
Nope, it's
where
not.
it is.
You'll find it right there.
Right here.
Okay. So you're going to fold. Actually, the paper clip is in here like this. Okay, that's what's on the inside. Okay. So you need to make sure that your piece of paper or your card that you're going to use, this works best with cardstock on the front, and the inside is paper. Don't use double thickness of cardstock. It's just too much. It just really is too much, unless your cardstock isn't really thick. Some cardstocks in some collections are thinner than others. You just, kind of, but I have this heavier Cartabella cardstock on the outside and paper on the inside. But you need to make sure that your paper clip, that it is at least a good 1/2 inch longer than your paper clip, giving it a little space at the top and then to the sides.
Absolutely.
So what we're going to do,
And we had a question, Cindy, about paperclip size.
Yep.
And we has to be a large one, pretty much.
here's your standard size paper clip. Your what I call a small. Okay, your basic paper clip. This is what I call a large paper clip. Again, office supply, standard size. Of course, you can get them all. Then there's these huge things, but this is what I'm talking about. This is your standard size, and this is then the larger one. And this paper clip, let me put it up against my 2.5 inch. It's about 2 inches long. I wonder if you can. Oops. Maybe you can see that. This paper clip is about 2 inches long. All right, that's the length that we're talking about. All right, so we're going to use, and be careful if it's directional, because you're going to fold this down. So be careful, because one way your direction is going to be fine and the back side it's not. So if it's directional, either don't care or, embrace, again, vive la différence. Okay? So what I'm going to do, this must have been what I used. As I see, it's plaid. Okay, I'm going to use the red plaid like I did here. And this, like I put this down, Kelly, those are about 2 inches long.
Oh, to see it. That's
Yep.
a great idea.
Give or take, all right? But that's what I'm talking about, where this is your normal size paper clip, and then this is be your larger. Okay, so we're going to use the larger 2 inch size. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of paper.
I thought that was going to be so dramatic, and then you're like,
paper.
I love it.
It's just if your paper has a pretty side, you want the pretty side to it's what would show. Okay, so if you have like a printable, or if you're using music and maybe there's music on one side and not on the other, you want the music side to show. So actually what we're going to do is we're going to take, maybe I'll do that. I'm going to use music.
Okay.
See, it's thin. That's what we want.
Thin paper for that? Okay.
Thin paper for this. And all I'm going to do is because you can do these, you can mass do these. If you had a big piece of paper, I could probably do 2 paper clips.
And then cut them apart?
Yep.
Oh, that's a great
Yep.
idea.
You could definitely do that. So again, this is directional, so this is going to drive Cindy crazy if I don't do it, so I'm just going to fold it in half. All right? You want your inside paper to be a little a little longer or wider and a little longer than what your card is folded over.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have guessed the other way.
And the reason you want that is because you don't want the glue that you are going to glue the top down to this with to get underneath, because it's going to glue this shut.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So what you want to do, remember how we had the long leg on the outside of the single paper clip. On this one, I want the long leg. I want to put that one, long piece. I'm going to put that one on top. All right, I'm going to put that on top, just like that. And then I'm going to take,
You got the big tape, packing tape.
I'm going to take my packing
And
tape.
do you use that because it covers everything, or because it's stronger, or what's the reason for that, Cindy?
Yes,
Okay,
both.
all right.
Seriously, both. It's stronger, and you can cover it in like one fell swoop, shall we say? Okay. I've seen people that they've tried to use washi tape on this, and I don't know. This is what I like. It's heavy duty and it works. Washi is made to be removable. I mean, that's just kind of its property.
Right.
So
It is.
okay, I got this up too high, so I'm clipping, and this is what happens when you're using clear and you're not paying
And
attention.
you can't see.
Real-time crafting. Okay, so here's my side. It just
Cindy,
will
I
not
think
come off.
that's good though, because that probably happens to people at home, and then they're like, "Oh, well, Cindy just cut it off."
Oh golly,
So
you
it's
guys!
no
If
problem.
you saw the way I crafted at home, oh my gosh, I'm a mess. Like I said, you did with the powder. You don't want ever to see me bake cookies. I do. I get more flour on me than I do
Well,
in.
you know what? You don't have to come in and bake cookies for us if you just keep doing cool crafting.
Oh
things.
well,
We're
you
fine
know
with
what?
that.
Well, I'm okay with that. I am not a cookie baker, but I would love that. Come to craft. Okay, so again, it's a bigger piece, and I don't need it that long, and I do want it shorter, so I am gonna slice and dice this down just a hair, and about right there. Here goes Cindy. Oh yeah, about so much. It's like when I was dyeing paper, I literally had to try to figure out how many drops of ink that you might want to use, because for me it's like, oh yeah, that looks good. Okay, so I just cut a little bit off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this. So you notice how I'm kind of centering it. My inside paper is, I have it backwards. Who cares? Yeah, see, notice, inside paper is bigger than the outside. So what I'm going to do,
That's what surprises me. I wasn't expecting that.
okay, while it's just kind of here, I'm going to glue the front. And I'm going to lay it down on top. Oops. I want to make sure that that's up. You notice the top of the paper clip though it's leaving a little space, and that's okay. And that is quite okay. So we're going to glue the top side down. We're going to turn it over, and we're going to put glue in the groove, in that fold, and then along the other side. And then we'll glue that down. So we've got the front side, and then open up, put glue in the fold. Now we've got the bottom side. Now we're going to take our scissors, and we're just going to cut this excess off. No, Cindy won't be throwing that away.
Well, while you're cutting, Cindy, Elena's asking, do you ever use glitter on your projects?
Yes. I use, actually, as I was kind of talking about, I did on my book used stickles. I used mercury glass and diamond dust on the excuse me,
Sorry, Cindy,
on the
am I in your way? Am I in your way? I'm trying to show it.
on the trees. But then I also use, again, go to Memory Bound's blog, and I know it's been there a couple of times. Janet has put it on there, and I think Diane. It's Diane's glitter recipe, and it's like a half. I have a container that's like this, and it's half diamond dust and half clear rock candy. And there's the chunks there. It's big, and then it's little. I mean, it's very fine.
Everything.
It's awesome. But you could just use dots of glue. Now, of course, on this one, and as I did before, I'm going to round the edges, and I'm going to do the whole thickness at one time.
So Cindy, Elena is also asking if you ever have trouble with glue sticking to the packing tape. Do you ever have trouble with that?
Nope. I've never had it not stick. I've always just, and you can kind of see right here. See where it's, we've glued it down.
Like this with the camera, but I forgot I got a different phone in my hand, so okay.
It's all good. Now you can see there's still some pieces that are hanging out, and you can just go in here and trim. I'm not getting, all crazy about it.
It's gonna
exactly.
help a lot.
And so then, and I'm going to ink all my edges. And then you can start decorating fronts and backs using, stamps. Again, this is where I think on this one, I put in a little piece of music page. I put another.
Put a sticker.
Put another sticker. This one. May you never be too old to search the skies on Christmas Eve.
That's a good one.
Here's these little tiny stickers. That's what I used on that one. And then I'm going to show you on the back. I made this little pocket. Remember, where's my little? Remember, I saved him. I made him. He was a sticker.
Oh, the little stuffing.
He was a little sticker. And then I have my home somewhere. It's right here, and he's going to be a pocket. And so I'm just going to take this and just real quickly, I could spend another 3 or 4 hours with you guys and just sit here and decorate and get my stamps. And
okay, and Cindy is using the Gathered Twigs Distress Ink. You could use any of your favorite brown distress inks.
Absolutely.
She's using Gathered Twigs. You could probably use Walnut Stain or
Vintage Photo.
I use that a lot.
Ground Espresso is another good one. I mean, anything that you would want to use.
And then here's a question, Cindy, while you're gluing that or taping that down. Karen wants to know, when you showed the book that you took the insides out of it, how did you adhere the signatures to the book? I wonder if that's a previous project that you showed?
Yeah, that was, I gutted a hardcover book.
Okay.
And it's called a floating spine.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
you were showing
and you actually sew the signatures to another piece of like cardstock, and then that is adhered back to the inside of the hardcover book.
So you could probably go out and look up floating spine.
I will. Okay.
And you could learn more about it.
Yep, I will tell you that I learned that technique. It was this Edith Ray, the Scrapbooking with Me. It was in March. She had done a challenge thing, and we were doing a journal thing. We did bunches of different things every week. And and that was how in the March journal, so it had been March of 2021, she talked and she did the floating spine. And it's the first and the only time I've ever done it, and that's where I saw it. And that's
So check that out online if you're interested in that.
Okay, so here's our pocket, 1/8 inch score tape around it. I just put it down.
Oh my gosh, that is going to be adorable.
I just put it down here, and there we go.
That's so cute.
And let's see here again, let's do some real time crafting, people. We're just going to do this, and this is how I make my own ephemera. I save my scraps, and I ink things, and I tear things, and I glue stuff down, and I just...
Cindy, designed the project so you can like get out all your Christmas stamps, and if you have any other embellishments, and you can kind of make it your own. Like on the front cover, you could put your family name, you could put the year.
Yep.
You can, that we left that
All
blank
up
at
to
the
you.
top for everybody to kind of do what you want to do for your title.
Absolutely. Whatever you want. You know, because maybe not all of our viewers, maybe they celebrate a different holiday. Maybe they just want it season's greetings. Maybe you want to do one for 4th of July. Maybe you want to do one for summer. Maybe you want to do one for whatever. It just, whatever. This is just a springboard that I just took that sticker. And let me see what other one. That was a black one. I'm just going to use a green one. We've got that side.
Decorated up.
Yep, just that side. I'm not going to take, I do have my my stamps with me, but I'm not going to grab them out. But I do use the Tim Holtz postage, Christmas postage, and then the Elizabeth Craft. I forget what it's called. I forget what the name of that one. You guys,
it's reindeer mail. That's
Yeah.
been a really popular
yeah,
one.
and you have this one, and I think you have this one
So there's
too.
reindeer mail, and there's the
Yep.
holiday
Postal.
postmarks
Yep.
from Tim.
And I used barn red, barn door, and forest moss as my greens.
That's a good idea.
So here's it. Notice it's a little wider, but here's this one, double-ended.
Make them any size.
You can make them any size.
Here, bring it down here and clip. She's going to clip it on so you can see it getting clipped.
Okay,
That
and you
sounds
just
kind of funny.
I know. Well, and you just take it and you just open it up and you just slide it on the page. And there's your double-sided paper clip. And you can make those, you can overlap scraps. So let's say, on the back side of the paper clip, I'm just going to kind of use this. You have a couple scraps and you wanted to layer them like this. And you could make that a pocket within a pocket, so then you can put,
Oh my gosh.
you can do all sorts of things with all of your stuff. So that is really,
So will you show, we are out of time, but will
Yeah.
you show where you put the little pennants on the pages? Here, let me grab your other book.
okay, now let me see, pennants on the pages.
Well, you have the little banners, not pennants. You have the little
Oh,
banners on the top.
this
I
is
thought if you
this
could
is
show that.
this is ephemera. I made these, and let me show you just real quick. I'm sorry about going over time here. This is just a piece of, and you guys are going to laugh. Honestly, you're going to go, what? Okay, this banner is just a piece of paper, and you take it and you fold it in half, and you find out where you want the middle to be. And there's one. You want the base.
Oh,
You
so
want the
just got some
base.
different ones going.
You want the base to be a little wider, shall we say? Let's just use this one. No, I don't want to use that one. I'm going to use this
She
one.
doesn't want to use that.
I don't want to use that one. I want to use this one. We're going to use that.
Elena says, go as long as you want. She's free the entire afternoon. Well, some of
Yay.
you got to eat lunch, everybody.
Lunch? What?
Although
Who?
I think Elena, maybe she's out west, so it's
Oh.
probably pretty early for her.
Awesome. Okay, so we're just going to do this one. We're going to make this. This is going to be our base. I'm going to fold it in half.
Now that is the trickiest cutting for banners I've ever seen.
And we're going to offset that. And then we're going to take another one.
This is called working on the fly.
Yeah.
And thank you, Cindy, for working
Oh
on the
no.
fly
This
with
is
us.
but this is the kind of stuff. This is what I do in my craft room. And if you could see the mess that's over to my left, this is what my craft room looks like. And so we've got this piece. We're going to do the same thing. We're going
I
to
love that.
kind of
like
fold it.
folding it and cutting it. We do have a really cool punch that cuts the notches, and I really like that also. I have one of those at home.
Yep. And try not to crease it as much as you can. Try. But another thing, and I would show you, and I want to put it on here, but usually and work, and I learned this, work in odd numbers. Even if you work in even number pieces, your eye tends to look for the symmetry, and if it's not perfectly straight and perfectly even, you're going to go, oh, it's off, but you don't know why it's off. Okay, so if you work in odd numbers, you don't have that piece, and I think that's I think that's some art. I think that's some art thing.
It's some really smart art.
Yeah.
Stuff.
What I'm looking for is my piece of small, and it doesn't have to be a straight cut, guys. Vellum.
So if you're just joining us, we're at Memory Bound in Iowa, right in the middle of Iowa. We're a suburb of Des Moines. Cindy's here today as a special guest on Saturday. We typically have videos Monday through Friday at 9:30 right here on Facebook. Cindy's here today on Saturday, and this is part 2 of her Happy Christmas File Folder Portfolio project.
Mm-hmm.
And if you missed part 1, you can go back and look it up last Saturday when she was here. And she's quickly showing us how to make these little ephemera pieces to add to your pages. And Cindy, you've had so many great tips for not just this project, but for any project that people are making. I've learned several things today.
Well, I thank you. It's fun to be here and to do this, and I hope people come away with ideas. And whether they're not, I am a junk journaler kind of person, but I'm also I've made scrapbooks, I've made cards, I've done a lot of different things. So, okay,
and Tammy's watching. She's been driving from Des Moines to Waterloo, and it's made her drive go fast. So
oh, God bless you. Okay, here, vellum. I'm only putting the glue along the top, and I'm offsetting it. Okay, now any type of glue that you are going to use, if the cardstock below it or whatever it is below it is dark, you're going to see it through. You're going to see through it. Okay. So what you can do, and I wanted to use that instead of the music page on this particular one, because I wanted to show you that you should have some of these. Here's one. Again, stickers. This one says Merry Christmas. If you take this and put this across the top.
Right over that glue mark.
Yep.
It's always amazing how it shows more
on dark
paper
yep.
than light paper.
And then you could also put, if you had Word, you could put it across here. Like here's a home for the holidays. There's another one that's back in through here, I think somewhere. Let me see if there's something really, if I can find it.
Is it on this book?
No, this would be. It'd be this one because that's stamped.
We got them switched. Okay.
Here's another piece of ephemera that I made, and this is just I'm just torn paper, and made that. And it's
so you
just
can just get creative. Get out all your stickers and
see.
things.
Here's a piece of music, and here's another piece that has the vellum.
Move it down just a little bit. There we go.
Yep. So here's a piece that has the vellum. I like I said, I like to keep it.
I really like
keep it. And then you can just take this, and then you can just find whatever page you would like to put it on, and adhere it to the top, adhere it to the side. Tape, 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 tape. Adhere it down. You've made a pocket.
Oh, good.
I mean, it's just all
Cindy,
sorts of little things.
Quit. It just keeps going and going.
So thank you very much, everyone, for your kind words, your kind suggestions, your tips. Take pictures, put them on the page. Let us see them.
So Cindy can see them. I think she'd really enjoy them. So would I.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and all your ideas. It's always great to share with other crafters, other makers.
Well, and Cindy, super thank you. You've gone for over 3 hours straight.
Show them the mess. Go ahead and show them the mess.
Here's her pile that you
this is my mess
before.
That I'm
She's
digging.
Got a box down here and a pile over here. But we learned so much, and her project used the Happy Christmas collection pack from Cartabella, and then she's used some different ribbons. The black file folder, which we carry file folders in about every color, And I think we've learned more techniques than we could ever imagine. So Cinde, you are amazing. You cannot believe the heart's coming through.
Well, thank you
So
very much.
Thank you for spending your Saturday, and thank you, viewers, for spending your Saturday with us. And we look forward to seeing everybody on Monday morning when Teresa will be back. And I'm trying to think about what she's doing, but I'm not really sure.
It'll be cool,
But
whatever
it'll
it
be
is.
cool, whatever it is. So thanks, Cinde, so much. Everyone have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.